Chapter 60:26. Who's calling me? A voice came from the wilderness. The giant creature lowered its head and saw the old man. Then it said, "Old thing, it's you again. You're so annoying, disturbing my rest. But who asked you to have such power? Tell me, who do you want me to deal with this time?" The heavenly master pointed at Lin Xian and said in a deep voice, "Kill him." The nine netherworld beast lowered its head, and a trace of disdain appeared in its eyes. An ant below the great emperor? You can't deal with him as a heavenly master? Watch me kill him. She opened her mouth and spat out a ball of 9 netherworld flame. The black flame flew towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian split the flame in half with a sword. He frowned and said, "What are you? You don't look like a beast. Are you a soul?" It was split open. The 9 netherworld beast was also surprised. "Who are you? You're not a great emperor, but you have the battle strength of one. Why does the sword in your hand look so familiar?" The 9 netherworld beast was extremely strange. At the same time, in the area around the 9th peak, some people looked up at the sky. Heavens, that's the 9 netherworld beast. Who summoned it? It's too scary. The moment such a beast appears, I have to run for my life. Otherwise, I'll definitely die. Even the sword martial emperor, who wanted to follow secretly, stopped when he saw the 9 netherworld beast. He was a little afraid of the 9 netherworld beast. The 9 netherworld beast was a beast of the 9 netherworld. It was extremely strange and mysterious. Looking at the 9 netherworld beast's level, even a great emperor might not be its opponent. Therefore, he also fled far away. He wondered who was so unlucky to meet the 9 netherworld beast. He would definitely die. Roar. At this moment, a terrifying dragon roar sounded. The sword martial emperor's heart pounded. There's actually a dragon. Who is it? The torch dragon? The other sages and boundary emperors were even more shocked. Hearing the dragon roar, the 9 netherworld beast was shocked. The 9 netherworld beast was also confused. Who do you think you are? How dare you challenge me? He slapped out his claws. The great dragon's sword soul flew out and turned into a sharp sword like a dragon. It pierced through the claws. A terrifying aura spread out. The 9 netherworld beast was stunned. Oh my heavens, this power! Could it be the legendary power? Wait a minute, I'm not fighting anymore. The 9 netherworld beast frantically shook its head. It stared at the sword shadow and asked, "Are you the legendary great dragon sword?" "That's right," Lin Xian said. "You recognize the great dragon sword?" The 9 netherworld beast instantly burst into tears. Of course he knew him. How could he not have heard of him even if he had never seen him before? Among the 5 swords of the world, the great dragon sword was an offensive technique that could destroy anything. My claws are so powerful that he can easily penetrate them. If it wasn't the great dragon sword, then what was it? Lin Xian snorted. "Since you know each other, why don't you admit defeat?" The 9 netherworld beast instantly cried. "Admit defeat? Of course, I admit defeat. Can you spare me this time? I'm only 10,000 years old. I don't know anything. The elders in my family didn't tell me that it was the great dragon sword this time. Damned heavenly master, you tricked me." The 9 netherworld beast cried. This heavenly master could mobilize the energy of heaven and earth. He cultivated the heavenly book and could mobilize the 9 netherworld beasts. But this time, after he came, he realized that this was a deep pit. The enemy was actually the successor of the great dragon sword. He used the great dragon sword, which had an invincible power. Coupled with the other party's great emperor-level battle strength, he couldn't defeat him. He might even be killed. Although this was the first time he saw the great dragon sword, he had heard too many legends about it. Since he was young, he had heard from the elders in his family that the 9 netherworlds opened 1,000,000 years ago. The countless experts of the 9 netherworlds fought in an expedition to the universe, wanting to sweep everything away. but some of the top experts were pierced through by a divine sword. It was a dragon-shaped divine sword that streaked across the universe, splitting great emperors and killing supremes. That sword had once flown into the 9 netherworlds and swept away everything. Back then, many powerful supreme existences were defeated by this sword. In fact, many of them died directly under the sword. Since then, the name of the great dragon sword spread throughout the entire 9 netherworlds continent. No one dared to provoke it. Now, when this 9 netherworld beast saw the great dragon sword, he was so scared that he cried, "Don't kill me, I'm still very young. I don't want to go against you. I'll leave now. Old thing, don't summon me again in the future. Do you hear me? Otherwise, I'll slap you to death." The 9 netherworld beast turned around and wanted to escape. Wow, what's going on? The surrounding people were dumbfounded. The youth was stunned. Xia, Juyo, and the 9 netherworld soul were also shocked. They were all related to the 9 netherworlds and knew the legend of the 9 netherworld beast, especially the one in front of them. It was obviously a great emperor. But now it was so scared. It was too unbelievable. Those who were watching the battle from afar were even more shocked. Why do I feel like the 9 netherworld beast is begging for mercy? Heavens, are my eyes playing tricks on me? A great emperor level 9 netherworld beast. Other great emperors had to retreat when they saw it. Who is so powerful? Could it be an even more terrifying existence? Even the sword martial great emperor was terrified. His eyes burst out with a biting cold sword light, wanting to take a look, but he couldn't see who the opponent was. Of course, he didn't dare to move forward. To be able to make the 9 netherworld beasts so scared, it might be an earth immortal. If he went to disturb, he would be slapped to death. So he could only guess there. That kid also went to that mountain. Could it be related to that kid? The sword martial great emperor thought of Lin Xian, but he quickly shook his head. Impossible. No matter how powerful that kid was, it was impossible for him to defeat the 9 netherworld beast. It was even more impossible for him to make the 9 netherworld beast submit. Seeing the 9 netherworld beast want to run, the heavenly master also roared, "You can't leave. I summoned you. You fuse with me. Fight with it." The 9 netherworld beast was furious and slapped at the heavenly master. F*CKU, are you trying to kill me? I'm not playing with you anymore. You can summon whoever you want in the future. I'll come again, and I'll be your grandson. I'll remember you. Anyway, there aren't many heavenly masters in the 9 netherworlds. If you summon me in the future, I won't come even if you beat me to death. Everyone was dumbfounded. Was this what a summoned beast said to its master? The heavenly master was slapped, and his body kept retreating. The 9 netherworld beast wanted to take this opportunity to leave, but Lin Xian said, "Wait, did I say you could leave?" The 9 netherworld beast's body trembled. He turned his head and was about to cry. "Young master, look at how magnanimous you are. Can you spare me this time? I can live, but tell me what's going on with the heavenly master. Why does this guy look so abnormal? Is he being controlled by someone? You don't even know the heavenly master? How did you cultivate to the great emperor level?" The 9 netherworld beast was stunned. Then he said, "The heavenly masters are a group of people who can use the power of heaven and earth. They can change the power of heaven and earth to form terrifying formations. Some even come to the universe and use some planets as formations to fight. It's extremely terrifying. As for whether this old man is being controlled or not, I don't know. I look at him strangely, but from the first day I met him, he's been so strange. Who knows if he's being controlled or not? It has nothing to do with me. Also, so what if he's being controlled? Someone who can easily control a heavenly master. How terrifying is that? I probably can't resist at all. Although you're the descendant of the great dragon, before you become an emperor, don't bother about these things. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't be able to keep your life." Chapter 60:27. It was obvious that the nine netherworld beast was afraid of the culprit as well. Right at this moment, an angry roar rang out, shocking everyone. The nine netherworld beasts' expression changed drastically. Even Shue-Chi felt a chill run down her spine. Even a great emperor was frightened. This power was too terrifying. At the same time, the people around the ninth peak trembled in fear. When the sword martial emperor felt this power, he turned around and fled. He felt that this power had surpassed that of a great emperor. Lin Xian's pupils contracted, and he turned around. His eyes shone with the light of reincarnation. He saw that the heavenly master, who had been sent flying by the nine netherworld beast, flew over again. A terrifying aura emanated from the old man's body. Even the great emperor was shocked by this terrifying power. Oh no, what's going on? Shue-Chi was shocked. The nine netherworld beast also said, "Damn it, is this a mutation? Retreat. The heavenly master is about to use his trump card. Let's run." Boom. The heavenly master thrust out his palm, and it collided with Shue-Chi's nine divine palm. Shue-Chi was forced to retreat. Lin Xian was shocked. This power was beyond his imagination. He said, take them and retreat. I will kill him." Lin Xian took a deep breath, and a cold light shone in his eyes. The youth rushed over and said, "Grandpa, don't." However, Shue-Chi grabbed him. Lin Xian said, "Let's go." Shue-Chi retreated with the others. Even the nine netherworld beast retreated far away. He said, "The heavenly master's mutation is really terrifying. Can this kid block it? He should be able to. After all, he has the power of the great dragon sword." The nine netherworld beast was shocked. Shue-Chi and the others retreated, and they frowned. However, they were even more shocked when they saw the next scene. This was because they saw that green hair had appeared on the old heavenly master's body. It was extremely strange. It was as if he had turned into a wild beast. "What's going on?" Xia, Juyo, and the others were stunned. "Is this the mutation that the nine netherworld beast mentioned?" The nine netherworld beasts said, "As expected, the situation is critical." More and more green hair appeared on the old celestial master's body. Gradually, the hair grew to over a meter long and covered his entire body. An extremely frightening and strange power emerged from it. What was that? Lin Xian's brows were also tightly knitted together. In the next moment, his expression changed because he realized that the old celestial master had made his move. In the blink of an eye, it was right in front of Lin Xian. Its green claws kept swinging and hitting Lin Xian. An earth-shattering sound rang out. Lin Xian was beaten until he kept retreating. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Xian landed on the ground, creating a crack in the ground. Endless dust filled the air. The old heavenly master roared at the sky. The nine netherworld beast exclaimed in shock, "No way! This brat also broke through the barrier." He was ready to escape at any moment. However, at this moment, Lin Xian rushed out. Lin Xian's body shone brightly. Sword Chi burst out, and the immortal slaying sword in his hand danced non-stop. It seemed to form one giant dragon after another, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. An invincible power surged out. This sword Chi was extremely terrifying. Then everyone was shocked. Lin Xian slashed forward with his sword and fought with the old celestial master. Although he didn't know what had happened to the old celestial master, he had to use all his strength. However, it seemed like he had to go all out now because his opponent was even more terrifying than a great emperor. The battle broke out in an instant. In the blink of an eye, 100 moves had passed. At this moment, Lin Xian roared. The immortal slaying sword and the dragon sword's soul merged into one. It directly pierced the old celestial master's body. The old celestial master's body was pierced, and an extremely shrill cry came from his body. The old celestial master's face also became ferocious. The youth behind him exclaimed, No, but it was too late. Green smoke appeared on the old celestial master's body. That suction force made one's scalp tingle. Lin Xian was also pushed back by this force. He waved his hand and pulled out the immortal slaying sword, frowning. He didn't know what was in the old celestial master's body. The old celestial master turned around and fled. He tore open the void and escaped from the ninth peak. Did he leave? Lin Xian frowned, but he didn't chase after him. He felt that if they continued fighting, something unknown would come out. The 9 Netherworld beast was also surprised. As expected of the successor of the great dragon sword, he was indeed powerful. After all, the great emperors didn't dare to make a move against that mutated celestial master. Lin Xian looked at the old celestial master and said, "What exactly is that thing? Who knows who the mastermind is?" The celestial master had mysterious supernatural power. However, the more he was punished, the more he would be punished. Especially in the later stage, he would be punished and mutated. The green hair that grew just now was a mutation. In the end, he might become a zombie. He was delirious, but his combat strength had increased exponentially. What a strange, celestial master bloodline. The 9 Netherworld was indeed extraordinary. Lin Xian frowned. He looked at the young man again. The young man was crying, but he didn't blame Lin Xian. He said, "Big brother, if you meet my grandpa again one day, can you completely kill the thing in his body?" Lin Xian said, "I'll try my best. Thank you." The young man bowed deeply to Lin Xian. "You've driven away that unknown monster. This sarcophagus is yours." The young man pulled the sarcophagus to Lin Xian's side. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up. "I finally got this thing." The 9 Netherworld beast was surprised when he saw it. "What is this sarcophagus? Let me take a look." "Hey, I can't see through its soul. I want to see what treasure is inside." He slapped the sarcophagus with his claws. Oh no! The expressions of Xueqi and the others changed. Then, in the next moment, they were stunned because they found that the sarcophagus didn't move at all. What's going on? Even 9 Netherworld was stunned. It's impossible. He was also a martial monarch. How was it possible that he couldn't open it? Lin Xian glanced at him and said, "You're quite fast. You want the treasure, don't you?" He waved the great dragon sword soul in his hand. 9 Netherworld quickly withdrew his claws. "You think too much. I just want to open it for you. I'm just curious." As he spoke, he carefully took 2 steps back. He didn't dare to move forward. However, his eyes fell on the sarcophagus. Xueqi said, "Let me do it." He activated the 9 Yin divine body and used the 9 Yin divine claws to open the sarcophagus. However, the sarcophagus shook, but it didn't open. No way. Xueqi was also surprised. She had the legendary physique in the starry sky. How could she not open it? "Husband, why don't you try?" She looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian nodded. He put away the immortal killing sword, grabbed the sarcophagus with both hands, and waved it hard. With a boom, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. A big crack appeared in the sky. The entire starry sky seemed to have collapsed. One could imagine how terrifying Lin Xian's physique was. However, the sarcophagus still didn't open. Was it so strange? Xia Xingchen and the others were stunned. Even Lin Xian looked at the young man. He asked, "How do you open it?" The young man looked embarrassed. He shook his head and said, "I don't know. I got this thing by chance." Lin Xian asked, "Where did you get it? Tell me what happened." The young man said, "It was in a mountain at that time. There was a ray of light in the mountain. It seemed to be a white-boned snake carrying a zombie-like man. Monstrous laws swept down, shattering countless mountains. The sarcophagus fell from a mountain. At that time, it caused a great battle between countless powerhouses. There were even great emperors who attacked and sent the sarcophagus away. The sarcophagus took a blow from a great emperor and didn't break. In the end, it fell near me. I secretly took it away. Chapter 60:28. There was a giant white-boned snake and a mummified corpse. Xia, Juyo, and the others exclaimed, "Isn't that the corpse emperor that Lin Xian saved before?" They didn't expect that the other party had something to do with this sarcophagus. It was the other party who broke out the sarcophagus. However, the other party must have done it unintentionally. It was probably the aura of the divine fire that fell down while they were on their way. After hearing this, the 9 netherworld beasts also said, "This sarcophagus has an extraordinary origin. It couldn't even be broken by the great emperor's attack. I think it's very difficult to open it. It can't be like this. If you give it to me, I'll give you some other natural treasures. Let me take it back." The 9 netherworld beasts did have this plan because there were other great emperors in their family. At that time, they could work together to break it. There must be unexpected treasures in such a strange, ancient sarcophagus. Lin Xian glanced at him and said, "Who said I can't open it? Can you open it?" "Although you are the successor of the great dragon sword, you are not omnipotent. I don't believe it." The 9 netherworld beasts didn't believe it. The others were also puzzled. Xueqi walked over and said, "Husband, do you want the 9 yin and 9 yang to work together?" Lin Xian shook his head and said, "No. I can see that this thing has a mysterious aura. It can't be opened by force. I need some methods, so I'll try." Lin Xian took out the longevity lamp from the sword world and placed it on the sarcophagus. A longevity lamp flickered slightly. Everyone could feel a majestic life force emerging from it. This lamp was so magical. The 9 netherworld beast was also shocked. What should I do next? He widened his eyes and looked carefully. He wanted to see what Lin Xian was going to use. A peerless superpower? However, Lin Xian didn't do anything. He just put the longevity lamp on the sarcophagus. He just looked at it with a smile. "Is this okay?" The 9 netherworld beast was even more confused. However, the next moment, with a crack, the sarcophagus slowly opened. "Damn, what's going on?" The 9 netherworld beast jumped up. Xueqi and the others were also shocked. It seemed that this lamp had something to do with the sarcophagus. The young man's eyes widened. Everyone turned to look inside. In the next moment, they stared blankly. There was a bone inside the sarcophagus. To be exact, it was an arm. There was no light at all. It was just like an ordinary bone, which was quite surprising. The 9 netherworld beast rushed over and said, "No way. There was only a single bone in such a mysterious ancient coffin." He was very disdainful and even wanted to scratch it with his claws. However, in the next instant, a monstrous power came from the bone and sent him flying. The 9 netherworld beast let out a blood-curdling scream and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. He went crazy. "Who hit me?" The others were also astonished. In that instant earlier, they all felt their blood run cold. Lin Xian advised, "Don't act rashly. The origin of this bone is extremely extraordinary. He's not someone you can challenge." Lin Xian's eyes erupted with an extremely cold light. He found that his guess was right. This bone belonged to a sovereign. This was the palm of a venerable sovereign. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian picked up the longevity lamp, and the sarcophagus was closed again. Lin Xian put away the sarcophagus and put it in the sword world. The bone of a venerable sovereign was too terrifying. Even with the 6 paths of reincarnation, he couldn't summon it. In fact, no one could use it. Moreover, Lin Xian learned that the venerable sovereign was used for resurrection. Therefore, once the bone was collected, it was very likely that it would reappear in the human world. The 9 netherworld beasts flew over and said, "Young master, can you tell me whose bone this is? It's too scary." Lin Xian said, "It's a very terrifying existence. Maybe it will come back to life one day. So, you'd better be honest. It can come back to life." The nine netherworld beast was so scared that it immediately stopped talking. It knew that some ancient existences would not be completely lost. Maybe there was a way to reappear. Lin Xian looked at it and said, "I need a pet. You plan to accompany me for a while." Hearing this, the nine netherworld beast immediately turned around and ran. Who would be a pet of a nine netherworld beast? It disappeared. Lin Xian snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, he set up an array formation under the ninth peak. Then he said to the youth, "All right, from now on, this peak is yours. However, I have an idea. I wonder if you agree?" "What idea?" "Big brother, just say it." The youth said. He was very grateful to Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, "Can you let my friend stay here for a while? I feel that the terrain here is very good to cultivate here." Lin Xian pointed at Xia Xingchen and Elder Xia. The youth said, "No problem. Let this sister and grandpa stay here." Lin Xian said, "Elder Xia, what do you think of this place?" Xia Jiu said, after coming here, "I feel that the terrain is extraordinary. There is indeed the power I need here. It's not bad to become an emperor here." The ninth peak was very strange. Even the heavenly master stayed here. This was enough to show that it was extraordinary. Lin Xian left the heaven-swallowing jar to Elder Xia and said, "Next, I might go to other places to look for opportunities. Leave the heaven-swallowing jar with you. I will leave an array formation here. If there is any danger, immediately send me a message. I will teleport back." He left some resources for Xia Jiu to cultivate. Then Lin Xian and Xueqi went on their way. Lin Xian wanted to look for his own opportunities. He wanted to improve the power of the immortal Qi seed. The nine netherworld spirit was also left behind to protect Xia Jiu. This guy was also very happy. If Xia Jiu could become an emperor, he would definitely benefit a lot. "Husband, where are we going next?" Xueqi asked. Lin Xian said, "Let's leave it to fate. Opportunities will always appear inadvertently." The two of them rested as they walked. Their days were very carefree and happy. Lin Xian's 9 yang divine body and Xueqi's 9 yin divine body became more and more mysterious and powerful. Half a month later, Lin Xian stopped. There was a plain in front of him. On the plain, there were countless buildings, pavilions, palaces, and manors. It was like a city. However, what was surprising was that there were no city walls or gates. There were only things inside the city. Lin Xian was curious. He walked over and asked, "You don't even know this?" A 9 netherworld's martial artist had a strange look on his face. "Where are you from?" Lin Xian frowned. He directly controlled the martial artist's soul and collected it. In the next moment, he knocked the martial artist unconscious. He understood that the 9 netherworlds was one of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The ancient cities here could not be built. They had existed since ancient times. It seemed that there was a certain number of them. It was neither more nor less. Ordinary people were not qualified to enter those ancient cities at all. Only extremely terrifying clans could enter. If others wanted to live, they could only live outside the ancient cities. Therefore, there were such tribes. At first, there were also people who wanted to build new cities. However, when they were just built, the cities were destroyed by a mysterious force. Even some emperors died because of it. From then on, the people of the 9 netherworlds knew that cities could not be built. However, they could build tribes. In other words, they were like cities. However, they could not have city walls. Chapter 60:29. After learning about the tribe's situation, Lin Xian and Xueqi walked forward. However, after they entered the tribe, many people stared at Lin Xian, and they started discussing him. Their gazes were somewhat strange. When Lin Xian used his soul power to listen, He understood that these people were talking about his aura. Xueqi had a 9 yin body, and she was in line with the 9 underworld's power. However, he didn't have such a power. Therefore, in these people's eyes, he was a monster. In fact, he might even be a useless cultivator. Lin Xian was left speechless. Humph! He snorted coldly, and his aura appeared. His high-level divine body swept across the crowd. As a result, the surrounding cultivators were so scared that they immediately knelt on the ground. Heavens! I just sense the power of a great emperor. Is he a young great emperor? They began to worship him nonstop. They had spoken ill of a great emperor behind his back, and they would end up in a miserable state. Please spare our lives. We won't dare to do it again. They kept begging for mercy. Lin Xian walked into the tribe as they knelt on the ground. There was a manor in front of him. The whole manor was built on the back of a demonic beast, and it was quite peculiar. This was a walking manor, and it was also a place for eating and resting. The strength of the cultivators here was also higher than in other places. Lin Xian and Xueqi went into the walking manor and sat down in a hall. Shortly after, a short elf ran over and asked, "Sirs, what would you like to order? The walking manor has a lot of special delicacies." Lin Xian said, "Then I'll have one of each of your specialties." After a short while, the table was filled with dishes. Xueqi ate them delicately. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was a little depressed. The aura of the netherworld contained, and it was very rich. He had no choice but to open the Taiji diagram and let it revolve around his body. It was as if he was wearing a Taiji battle robe. He decided to use the 9 underworld's aura to cultivate the Taiji diagram's power. The Taiji diagram had yin and yang, and it could be used to cultivate the yin's power. Halfway through the meal, a group of distinguished guests arrived at the walking villa. Inside the villa, many people went out to welcome them. After they arrived, the others also made way for them. This was a group of youngsters. The one walking at the very front had an outstanding appearance. His identity was extraordinary, and there was a trace of hazy light on his body. It was young Master Yu. Many people exclaimed and greeted him. "Hello, young Master Yu." Someone asked, "Who is this man? Was he very powerful?" "Idiot, this is Liu family's young Master Yu." "Don't you know the Liu family? What a terrifying family." They were the top clans living in the ancient city. After the others heard this, they gasped. Those who could live in the real ancient city definitely surpassed them. They were existences that they could only look up to. An old man walked out and said with a smile, "Young Master Yu, are you also here to head to the Soul Valley?" Waving his folding fan, young Master Yu said with a smile, "I'm just here to check out the situation. The one who really wants to go to the Soul Valley is my big brother." It turned out that young Master Tianqin was going there. The old man also exclaimed. Young Master Yu nodded. "Yes, my big brother is now on the verge of a breakthrough. He is about to become a great emperor." Speaking of this, his face was full of pride. After the others heard this, they were even more shocked. What? Is he going to break through and become a great emperor? Young Master Tianqin has already reached this step. Oh my God! He is so extraordinary at such a young age. Is there finally going to be a new great emperor in the 9 Serenities? Countless people were shocked. Everyone went crazy. Although there was more than one great emperor in the 9 Serenities, every time he did so, it was an earth-shattering event. After all, it was very difficult to become a great emperor here. Many people turned into ashes at the last step. Many people stopped moving forward, lamented for thousands of years, and finally turned into ashes. It was really too difficult to become a great emperor. Whether it was in the 9 heavens and 10 earths, or in the universe, it was as difficult as climbing to the sky. But now, the top genius of the Yu family, Yu Tianqin, was about to become a great emperor. Someone said, "I wonder if young Master Tianqin has any opponents. If not, he will definitely succeed in becoming a great emperor." Someone laughed and said, even if he has opponents, so what? Only one person can succeed in becoming a great emperor. Yu Tianqian can definitely step on everything and become a great emperor. Hearing this, Xueqi frowned slightly and said, Elder Xia seems to be in a bit of trouble. Although many people can become great emperors in the Nine Serenities, they can't do it at the same time. Only one person can become a great emperor at a time. This time, after Yutian City becomes a great emperor, Xia Juya will have to wait for a while. How could it be like this? Lin Xian frowned slightly. Xueqi said, this is not the worst. The worst is that two people will become great emperors at the same time. At that time, there will be a life and death battle. The one who succeeds will become a great emperor. The one who fails will not only have to wait for the next time, but it is very likely that his foundation will be damaged. He would never be able to attain the Tao, or he may die directly. I believe in Elder Xia. Even if it is a battle of great emperors, he won't lose. Lin Xian said, indeed, if Xia Juya was lucky, he would have already proven his Tao and become a great emperor a few thousand years ago. This time, he had the opportunity to become a great emperor. He wouldn't lose to anyone. Young Master Yu and the others walked inside amidst the crowd's flattery. They wanted to go to the best VIP seats, but halfway there, they stopped. Young Master Yu's eyes lit up. This fairy looks unfamiliar. I wonder which family or sect she is from. He looked at Xueqi, and his eyes lit up. When the others saw Xueqi, they were also surprised. What a beautiful fairy! Xueqi frowned slightly. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Are you blind? Can't you see that she is taken? Boy, who do you think you are? You? Do you think you are worthy of such a beautiful fairy? You are just a toad. Get lost, or I will destroy you. Young Master Yu was very arrogant. The people next to him were also geniuses from big families. They sneered. Their auras spread out, and they wanted to suppress Lin Xian. Lin Xian laughed. You ants want to fight me? I will give you a chance to disappear from my sight. I can spare your lives. You are courting death. Guards, teach him a lesson. Behind him, a strong man walked over, wanting to attack Lin Xian. However, before he could reach him, Lin Xian's eyes pierced through him. Then Lin Xian slapped young Master Yu to the ground. Ah, young Master Yu screamed. His face was smashed, and many of his bones were broken. He didn't expect that the other party would dare to attack him. He turned his head abruptly, stared at Lin Xian, and said, You are dead. Boom. Lin Xian slapped young Master Yu again, turning him into a mist of blood. The people around him went crazy. Who is this guy? How dare he kill him? Isn't he afraid of the Yu family's anger? The sky was filled with a mist of blood. Lin Xian looked around at the young masters and said, You also attacked me just now, didn't you? The young masters were so scared that they almost knelt down. Sir, please spare our lives. They were about to cry. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Xian waved his hand and slapped the people around him into a mist of blood, as if he were swatting flies. F***CK, he is too strong. This guy killed a few genius young masters. Those big families, they would never let him go. Chapter 60-30. Lin Xian continued to attack. With a few simple palm strikes, he killed several geniuses from the top clans. Everyone's scalp went numb. The people in the villa looked at Lin Xian as if they were looking at a monster. Where did this guy come from? He's too reckless. Does he know what kind of person he has offended? He doesn't know anything. He's just a hothead. Countless voices of discussion sounded. However, when Lin Xian's gaze swept over them, all of the voices disappeared. At this moment, the entire villa was terrifyingly quiet. Try this dish. What do you think? Lin Xian looked away and began to pick up food for Xueqi. The two of them tasted the special dishes of the 9 serenities. After about half an hour, the two of them were full. Shue-chi asked, "Husband, where are we going?" "Let's go to the Soul Valley. I heard that something incredible has appeared there. If it's useful for the immortal chi seed, it would be great." The two of them left their seats and walked out of the villa toward the Soul Valley. After Lin Xian left the people in the villa, heaved a sigh of relief. That young man's aura is too terrifying. What level has he reached? Is he a great emperor? Impossible. I didn't feel any great emperor's aura, but I guess he's not far away. I heard that he went to the Soul Valley. Yu Tianxin is also going to the Soul Valley to look for opportunities. Is he going to compete with Yu Tianxin? Who can become a great emperor between the two of them? Let's go and have a look. Let's go to the Soul Valley. Many people stood up and went to the Soul Valley. Many people went to the Soul Valley. Soon, the entire villa was shrouded in moonlight. It was very hazy. What a strange vision of heaven and earth. Some geniuses looked up, but in the next moment, they saw a pair of cold eyes walk out of the moonlight. It was an old man. He had a long saber in his hand that was shaped like a crescent moon. He looked at young Master Yu, who was split in half, and said in a deep voice, "Who killed him? Is it someone from the Yu family?" Countless people were shocked. The old man shouted coldly, "Soul capture!" Immediately, those people's souls were enveloped. They were simply unable to resist. A moment later, the old man attacked. With a slash of his scimitar, the armed police fell to the ground. These people died with their eyes wide open. Those who were still alive were horrified when they saw this scene. "Why did you kill us? It wasn't us who did it. If you have the ability, then go and kill that kid." The old man said coldly, "You saw the people of the Yu family being killed, yet you didn't help. You deserve to die 10,000 times. After he finished speaking, he swung his saber again. A terrifying saber light flashed and split these people apart. Then the old man turned around and soared into the sky. "I don't care who you are. You can't escape." An ice dragon was roaring on the boundless land, and there were two people on it. They were Lin Xian and Shue-chi. Their target this time was the Soul Valley. The speed of the ice dragon was extremely fast. It was as fast as lightning. However, at this moment, the ice tornado roared, as though it had discovered an enemy. What had appeared? Shue-chi formed a hand seal with her palms, and she said, "Husband, it seems like someone is blocking our path." When Lin Xian heard this, he opened his eyes. The light of reincarnation condensed into a heavenly eye. It was like a heavenly deity looking down from high above. Under his gaze, he could clearly see that there seemed to be another moon in front of him. That moon was a crescent moon, and it was rotating between heaven and earth. Its moonlight enveloped everything. Moreover, the moonlight was spreading. It didn't take long for it to envelop them. In the next instant, they felt that the space around them seemed to have changed. It was as though an invisible hand was covering their surroundings. The pressure they felt was as heavy as a mountain. Shue-chi waved her hand, and the ice dragon stopped. She furrowed her brows and said, "Who is it? Come out." An old man walked out of the moonlight in front of them. This old man was tall, and his hair was white. His hair was fluttering in the wind, and he stood there like the sky. A terrifying power condensed on his body. When Shue-chi saw this, she furrowed her brows. This old man was unexpectedly a great emperor. The Yu family's old demon's eyes were ice cold as he looked in front of him. Soon, his gaze fell on Lin Xian. "That's right, it's you. You are the one who killed my Yu family's people." Previously, when he was collecting their souls, he already knew who his enemy was. Now, when he saw Lin Xian, he was even more certain of his guess. "Young man, do you know who the person you just killed was? It was my Yu family's young master. Do you know what the consequences are? Now, come back with me obediently and accept your punishment. Don't make me attack you, or you will regret it." So, it's the Yu family's people. When Lin Xian heard this, he laughed. Then, do you know how arrogant your Yu family's people were before? Our Yu family's people were born to be arrogant in this world. Do you not accept this? Old demon Yuya snorted coldly, and light bloomed on his body. The moon in the sky fell, and the surrounding void kept shattering. He was really overbearing. Did he really think that he was the ruler of the world? Lin Xian's face also darkened. He said, "Are you the only one who came? You are not strong enough. Brat, you're really arrogant. Is your backer the woman beside you? Although she is also a great emperor, there are strong and weak great emperors. I can feel that she is no match for me. Wait until I defeat her, then I will kill you." After saying that, old Demon Yuya waved his hand, and the moon in the sky fell, turning into millions of moonlight blades, and slashed down. Each blade attack carried the laws of the earth and immortal energy, and was extremely powerful. The other saints and great emperors could not resist at all. "You want to hurt my husband? Do you think you can do it?" Xueqi also made her move. Like an ice goddess, she waved her hand, and a storm swept out. The whole world was covered in ice, and snow covered thousands of miles. The moonlight in the sky was frozen in an instant, and it flickered with blue light. Not only that, the chilliness swept towards the Yu clan's old demon. Boom! In an instant, old demon Yuya was frozen. Boom! Old demon Yuya roared angrily, and the scimitar in his hand moved. With him as the center, the ice shattered. However, new ice appeared, and the two sides were in a deadlock. Old demon Yuya frowned. "No, you are not an ordinary great emperor. There is something wrong with your body." He was too surprised. He could feel that Xueqi had just become a great emperor, and she was a newcomer. Such a realm could not be compared to an expert of the older generation like him. It would not be a problem for him to defeat her. However, as soon as they started fighting, he realized that he was wrong. He seemed to be suppressed by his opponent. Damn it, Moon Demon Slash. He used his great emperor's secret technique. A blinding light was emitted from it. The void seemed to ripple, and it shattered. At this moment, the ice in the sky melted, and a huge blade light fell down, fusing with the crescent moon in the sky. "You can't block it." Old Demon Yuya's voice was sonorous, and it was filled with confidence. Humph! A cold look appeared in Xueqi's eyes. She formed a hand seal, and then slapped out. 9 in divine claw. The wind and snow between heaven and earth became even more terrifying, and it seemed like even the light dimmed. Then a claw flew out, and it seemed to cross the universe. It slapped out fiercely. Chapter 6031. A violent roar came from the void and swept out in all directions. The dim moonlight barrier shattered instantly. The power of the great emperors burst out and swept out in all directions. Behind them, the experts who had followed Lin Xian and the others also stopped. They were shocked and doubtful. What happened in front of them? Not good. Retreat. Some of the stronger ones retreated quickly. In an instant, they saw the void within thousands of miles was filled with cracks, and it continued to spread toward them. What is this? This power is too terrifying. Run away quickly. Countless cries of surprise could be heard. It was the power of the great emperors. Everyone was pushed far away when the great emperors were fighting. Their faces were full of horror, and they didn't dare to go forward anymore. Even in the 9 serenities, the great emperors were existences that countless people looked up to. Why didn't they know that 2 great emperors were fighting in front of them? Among them, a peerless expert said, "Why do I feel that the aura of one of the great emperors is the law of the Yu family? Is the great emperor of the Yu family here?" Looking at the route, it seems that he is going for that arrogant boy. It's over. That boy is dead meat. Who asked him to offend the Yu family? The Yu family was a family that lived in the ancient city. There was more than one great emperor in the city. How could he resist them? However, who was the second great emperor's aura? They didn't know. Could it be that the boy had a backer? These people could only wait in confusion. In front of them, after the earth-shattering collision, the two figures retreated. Then they stopped in the void. Xueqi's body was spotless. The wind blew her hair, but it couldn't blow away the coldness on her body. Her eyes were colder than ice. She said in a deep voice, "You are just S.O. Damn it, this woman is so terrifying. Why haven't I heard of her before?" The old demon of the Yu family frowned. It seemed that he had to use some of his lost techniques. He snorted and waved his hand. Endless moonlight rolled and condensed into a battle armor. He put it on. Now that he had the moon devil armor, his defense had increased exponentially. At the same time, a crescent moon flashed out from between his eyebrows. The aura of the moon kept revolving around him. A strand of immortal chi wrapped around his saber. "Next, I'm going to get serious. You might die." "Old demon," you said coldly. "Just you?" Xueqi shook her head. "I can't do it." In the next moment, her 9 divine body was completely unleashed. An even more frightening frost energy spread out. The frost flame on his body was flickering nonstop. That flame was even colder than the 10,000-year frost ice. Lin Xian watched from behind with a smile on his face. He wasn't worried at all because he knew Xueqi's power. This old man was no match for him at all. He estimated that after 1,000 moves, this old man would be injured. In the next instant, the two people in front of him made their moves. They were like lightning from the 9 heavens as they clashed. An earth-shattering aura erupted once again. The power of a great emperor was boundless. At this moment, everyone was trembling in fear. While they were fighting, the space behind them suddenly split open. A silver-white ray of light shot towards Lin Xian's back. Its speed was so fast that it startled everyone. With a loud boom, it rushed towards Lin Xian's back. A thunderous sound rang out, and Lin Xian's body shook violently. Soon after, the silver-white ray of light turned into a huge silver-white flower that rushed towards Lin Xian. It wanted to engulf him completely. "Young man, become the nourishment of my flower." An ear-piercing sound echoed in the air, and it made people's hair stand on end. When old Demon Yu, who was fighting in front of them, saw the scene, he narrowed his eyes. Someone was trying to benefit from it. However, forget it. It doesn't matter who killed that lad. He sneered coldly and said, "Aren't you going to save him?" Xueqi, who was in front of him, looked at him coldly and expressionlessly. "My husband's power isn't something you can imagine. More than one great emperor has died in his hands. He doesn't need me to save him." When old Demon Yu heard this, he was stunned. "What? That lad killed a great emperor? What kind of joke is this? That lad isn't even a great emperor. Where did he get such ability?" He didn't believe it. However, he found that the woman in front of him wasn't anxious at all. This surprised him greatly. The huge silver-white flower behind her kept swallowing. It seemed that even divine weapons would be crushed by it. In the distance, those who were waiting also exclaimed. Among them was the 9-crowned king. He said, "I can feel the aura of the second great emperor. That lad's life signs have disappeared. Could it be that he has died? Heavens, 2 great emperors came to kill him. Even if he died, his name would be remembered in the 9 underworlds. It's a pity. He could have competed with Yu Tianqian. He had the hope of becoming a great emperor. However, he offended someone he shouldn't have and died in the end. A dead genius is nothing. You must remember that you can't offend any of the families in the ancient city." The surrounding young people kept nodding. These words were like the truth that was deeply imprinted in their souls. "Don't you think you're too naive to think that you can kill me with a flower?" Suddenly, a young voice rang out, shocking the powerhouse behind the fresh flowers. You're still alive? This is impossible. Refine. A cold voice rang out. However, the entire void started to tremble. The silver flowers were also swaying nonstop as they let out mournful cries. Then it was torn into two petals. The flowers danced in the sky, withered and sad. A figure walked out from the petals. It was none other than Lin Xian. Lin Xian was completely unharmed. His eyes were incomparably bright as he stared behind him. You're not from the Yu family. Which great emperor are you from? Why did you attack me? You're still alive. A middle-aged man in black walked out of the void behind him. The flower in the middle-aged man's hand had already withered. His face was terrifyingly cold. Damn it, I spent so much effort to cultivate this flower demon with immortal qi. To think that it was actually destroyed by you. You're unforgivable. I'll let you know the power of the Xianin family. Xianin family? Lin Xian was taken aback. Oh, I remember now. There was indeed a reason when I was in the villa. The members of the family were reckless. They were killed by me as if I was swatting flies. Are you also here for revenge? Damn kid. It's good that you know. The Blacking Patriarch roared crazily. You'll die if you offend our family. He's still alive. Old Demon Yu, who was fighting in the front, was also shocked. He didn't believe Xue Qi when she said that, but now he realized that she didn't seem to be lying. This young man was too terrifying. He had the combat strength of a great emperor. What kind of monster is he? After tearing the flower into pieces, Lin Xian said in a deep voice, Blacking Patriarch, I'll remember you. You should also remember my name. My name is Lin Wudi. After saying that, he threw a punch forward. Dazzling light lit up the world. Raging flames swept out in all directions. At this moment, the skies seemed to be pierced by the sun. The whole world turned into daytime. Chapter 6032. Feeling the terror of Lin Xian's punch, the Blacking Patriarch didn't dare to be careless. He performed the dark Yin giant handprint. He slapped it hard. The two collided, shaking heaven and earth. The void cracked, and the surrounding mountains were torn apart. The boulders rolled down, and the black hole on the roof spread into the distance. Those who were watching the battle in the distance retreated in horror. Their faces were full of fear. Among them, the Nine-Crowned King exclaimed, That arrogant boy's vitality has appeared again. Oh my God! What's going on? Did he come back to life again? What a powerful force. The Blacking Patriarch was also shocked by the power of Lin Quan's fist. What kind of physique is this? The power of the purest Yang. You're not from the Ninth Serenity. How did you survive here? The transcendent power in his opponent's body is completely opposite to that of the Ninth Serenity. How can he exist? There are many things you don't know. Lin Xian snorted and punched out like a dragon. He kept falling and attacking the Blacking Patriarch. The Blacking Patriarch was also angry. Damn it. Are you looking down on me? He kept waving his palms. The power in the sky gathered toward him, causing the immortal qi on his body to become even more terrifying. A ferocious look appeared on his face, making him look like a cunning fox. He said, Boy, your power will be greatly restrained in the Ninth Serenity, so you'll be in despair. The darking palm. The Blacking Patriarch's palm burst out endless power and slapped down hard. At the same time, the mystic petals also danced. A giant, gloomy flower petal appeared under his feet. There were 9 petals in total, and they quickly closed around Lin Xian. Once surrounded, he would be turned into a pool of blood. Even a great emperor wouldn't dare to resist. Let's see how you can dodge it. In the next moment, the mystic petals enveloped Lin Xian again. The Blacking Patriarch laughed complacently. Go to hell. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, the 9 petals split open again, and the piercing sword light spread for thousands of miles. The great grandmaster of the Blackeen sect was shocked. He was dumbfounded. You came out alive? That's impossible. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Idiot. The immortal slaying sword thrust out and cut off one of the Blackeen ancestors' arms. The great grandmaster of the mysterious dark sect was injured. He held his arm and retreated, his face full of shock. What kind of sword chi is this? The sword energy that killed you. The celestial slaying sword slashed down once again, and a violent killing intent swept out, as if it could destroy the world. The great ancestor of the Blackeen sect shot out countless flower petals to form a barrier. Together with the immortal chi, they blocked the attack. He was shaken to the point that his chi and blood were roiling, and he kept retreating. Then he roared, "Heal!" The other injuries on his body healed quickly. However, the recovery speed of his broken arm was extremely slow. Obviously, there was an invincible force that was crazily tearing his wounds apart. Damn it, what exactly is this power? Why does it make me feel fear in my soul? Boom! At this moment, the Yu family's old demon was finally injured. He was sent flying by Xue Qi's 9 divine palm. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and a terrifying icy palm print could be seen on his body. He roared angrily, "Old demon of the Blackeen sect, let's join hands. These two youngsters are too strange." All right, the two great emperors quickly met up. Their fragrant bodies kept erupting as they prepared to join hands to fight the enemy. Are you sure you want to join hands? A strange look appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. The great ancestor of the Blackeen sect smiled. What? Are you afraid? If you are, then you should obediently surrender. Lin Xian shook his head. I'm afraid that you will die too quickly. Let's join hands. We will let them know what it means to join hands to fight the enemy. Xueqi nodded and smiled after hearing his words. With her and Lin Xian's physique, once they joined hands, their power would be unimaginably terrifying. The two of them walked together, and the light on their bodies kept erupting. 9 yin and 9 yang. The combination of yin and yang could be called the emperor of the world. The power of the two of them was completely opposite. However, at this moment, they were perfectly fused together. Boom! A torrent-like power erupted, and the vast aura could even shatter the universe. The two great emperors were dumbfounded. What is this? The physiques of the two of you are so terrifying. 9 yin and 9 yang. Could it be that there are two super strong physiques under the starry sky? Why are the two of you here? The two great emperors were completely alarmed. They had lived for tens of thousands of years, and they had seen countless strange things. They had also gone through many difficult battles. However, they had never been as shocked as they were now. They were invincible. They had to temporarily retreat. The two great emperors looked at each other. Then they chose to retreat at the same time. If other people saw this, they would be scared silly. The two great emperors had joined hands, yet they chose to run away. Boom. The two of them were very fast, and they used their movement techniques to the extreme. They tore open the void and escaped quickly. Where are you going? Lin Xian shouted coldly as he and Xueqi attacked. Both of them linked their fingers together, and an yin-yang fist flew out. With a loud boom, the void in front of them was completely shattered. The two great emperors cried out in pain. They didn't manage to escape. They were hit by this power, and many cracks appeared on their bodies. Blue blood dyed the 9 heavens. At this moment, the vision of heaven and earth exploded. Countless powerhouses knelt down. It was like the end of the world. After this attack, the two great emperors escaped with injuries. Lin Xian and Xueqi withdrew their fists and said coldly, "You ran fast. Keep going." The two of them rode on the ice dragon and left. The people who were waiting behind them were dumbfounded. What was that? That aura was so powerful. I felt that it surpassed the great emperors. Could it be that someone has cultivated 2 strands of immortal qi? Even the Yu family's people were beaten away. Is it the expert behind that arrogant guy? Countless guesses could be heard. However, none of them were able to guess correctly. The news of this palm also spread. For a moment, all the sects and families in the 9 serenities were shocked. The Yu family was an extremely powerful family. The great emperor of the Yu family was even more terrifying. However, he was scared away by someone, and he was even severely injured. This was simply an appalling thing. The Yu family's people frowned when they heard this. He is really arrogant. No one has dared to challenge our Yu family for a long time. Let's wait and let Tianqin prove his Tao first. He is very talented. Once he becomes a great emperor, his future will be limitless. Maybe he can cultivate 2 strands of immortal qi. After Tianqin becomes a great emperor, we will kill that arrogant guy. Just in case, we will send another great emperor to protect Tianqin secretly. The Yu family sent another great emperor. They went to the Soul Valley. This time, Tianqin was going to prove his Tao. They would not allow him to fail. The Soul Valley was already crowded with people. It was said that there was an extremely terrifying treasure in the Soul Valley. After getting it, one's strength would definitely increase by leaps and bounds. Even some martial monarchs had shown up. There were also some people who had hopes of proving their Tao. However, among them, the most famous one was Yu Tianqin. The news that Yu Tianqin was going to prove his Tao had spread. Countless people were shocked. At this time, no one could surpass Yu Tianqin. It was estimated that there were not many people who could compete with him. Therefore, the possibility of Yu Tianqin becoming a great emperor had greatly increased. Therefore, some people came to look for treasures, and some just came to watch the fun. They wanted to see Tianqin's glory. Chapter 6033. The Soul Valley was a very mysterious place in the 9 serenities. There was a soul suppression here. As soon as one got close, one soul would feel like a piece of cloth being controlled by a pair of invisible hands. It would be torn apart at any time. Although the Soul Valley was dangerous, there were still many people around. Some experts had occupied the advantageous terrain and were waiting silently. Lin Xian and Xueqi also came. The 2 of them hid their powerful aura and hid in the crowd. Lin Xian looked at the valley in front of him and was surprised. He felt an extraordinary power. Xueqi said, "It seems that there are good things in there. Don't worry, the things inside must be yours. The Yu family can't compete with us. Do you want me to take it now?" Lin Xian shook his head and said, Don't worry. Let's wait and see." Lin Xian was ready to wait patiently. At the same time, there were some powerful elders around. They were discussing. It seemed that Yu Tianqin was very confident to become a great emperor this time. Yes, there was another one, the proud daughter of the Nanling family. But she didn't expect that at the last moment she went mad and failed. This time, she was no match for Yu Tianqin. Was there no one in the Xia family who could become a great emperor this time? Some young people were confused. An elder said, "There are some problems in the Xia family recently. Haven't you heard? A peerless expert, a mysterious great emperor, attacked the Xia family and killed many of their experts. Even a great emperor of the Xia family was injured." Now, the Xia family was in a state of panic. They were calling back their disciples and looking for that person all over the world. Who was it? What? Someone dared to challenge the Xia family. It was unbelievable. Who was so bold? When Lin Xian heard the news, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. He knew that it was the corpse emperor who he had rescued. The corpse emperor had cultivated 2 divine fires. He was very powerful. The Xia family was going to be busy. After waiting for 3 more days, more people arrived. However, Yu Tianqin was still nowhere to be seen. This made many people puzzled. What was going on? Was young Master Yu not coming? Some young geniuses said, We can't wait any longer. Let's go in and get the treasure first. It seemed that he had no fate with this treasure. Many people rose into the air and flew towards the Valley of Souls. The eyes of the others also flickered as they prepared to move. However, at this moment, a cold shout was heard. Who would dare? The aura of a great emperor descended. Countless people were terrified. The geniuses at the front all stopped in their tracks. They were extremely shocked. Greetings, great emperor. These people all bowed, and an old man descended from the sky. The old man was tall and had white hair. The moonlight on his forehead flickered with a hazy aura. However, he was wearing a loose black robe. It was Old Demon Crescent Moon. That was an ancestor-level figure. Was he here to protect you, Tianqin? Many people were shocked. Those young disciples were all envious. Being born into a powerful family was truly a blessing in disguise. There would be great emperors coming to protect them at any time. After the old demon of the Yu family arrived, he said coldly, "Don't you know that the treasure in the Valley of Souls has been coveted by the Yu family? Young Master Yu Tianqin is on his way here. This treasure is his. You can only wait. Do you understand?" After hearing this, everyone gasped. Many people's faces turned pale. However, some people were not convinced. Can't we wait for 10 or 100 years? If he doesn't come, we can't do anything? The old demon of the Yu family's face darkened. He stared at the man who spoke and snorted coldly. Immediately, the voice was like thunder. The middle-aged man who spoke had his body split open, and his soul was destroyed. The others were scared and knelt on the ground. "Great Emperor, please calm down. We understand." At this moment, no one dared to make a move. Those geniuses who were not convinced before also turned pale. It was good that they understood. The old demon of the Yu family rose into the sky. He stood in the sky and waited silently. The people below him were extremely quiet. What an arrogant fellow! Xueqi frowned slightly and looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, "We won't wait anymore. I wanted to see what kind of person he is. I didn't expect that he would waste 3 days of my time. Let's go and take the things inside." After saying that, the two of them walked outside. "Look, someone is heading toward the valley. Who is so reckless?" The great emperor of the Yu family was here. Who would dare to make a move? Even the 9-crown king was killed by a voice. Did the others think that they could resist it? Countless cries of surprise rang out. They looked up. They saw 2 figures walking over. It was a man and a woman. The man was extremely handsome, and the woman was as beautiful as a fairy. They could not sense any terrifying energy from the 2 young people. Which family did they come from? It was a pity that they were going to die at such a young age. Did the elders of their families not tell them that they could not challenge the great emperor? Countless people shook their heads and sighed. The old demon of the Yu family opened his eyes. Who was so reckless? He lowered his head and said, "You 2 ants, do you want to die? You lost to me. How dare you make a move?" Xueqi said coldly. The old demon of the Yu family was furious. The others were also shocked. They were challenging a great emperor. They would probably suffer a fate worse than death. The old demon of the Yu family was murderous. The power of the great emperor shattered the void. He descended like a god. However, when he came down and saw Lin Xian and Xueju, his body trembled. His face became extremely ugly. "It's you?" He rose into the air, as if he was going to escape. God, what did I just see? A great emperor was so scared that he ran away. That's impossible. How could 2 young people scare a great emperor? Was he dreaming? Asking the Yu family emperor to help? Many people exclaimed. The great emperor was a godlike figure in their hearts. How could he be scared and retreat? "Damn it, Junior, don't go too far." The old demon of the Yu family roared. Lin Xian smiled. "Do you want to fight? Come on, but you'll have to bear the consequences." His eyes seemed to have turned into a furnace, blooming with endless light, as if it could turn the universe into ashes. The scorching aura shook the souls of countless people. They kept retreating. Is this young man the reincarnation of the god of sun? Why is he so scary? The old demon of the Yu family didn't seem to dare to resist. He rose into the air in fear and retreated again. Previously, he and the Blacking sex patriarch were no match for Lin Xian even when they joined forces. Now, he was alone. Trash, Lin Xian said coldly. Then he turned around and continued to move toward the Soul Valley. God, the great emperor of the Yu family was scared away. He was called trash, but he still didn't make a move. Is this really a great emperor? What is he afraid of? Everyone felt that the faith in their hearts had collapsed. Aren't great emperors high and mighty? Aren't they supreme beings who can sweep away everything? Why are they so timid now? However, no matter how these people roared, the old demon of the Yu family still stood there. Although his face was terrifyingly dark, he didn't dare to make a move. Chapter 6034. Countless doubtful eyes fell on the old demon of the Yu clan like sharp swords. This made the old demon of the Yu clan feel extremely aggrieved. As a great emperor, he was superior to everyone. But now he was being doubted and looked down upon. How could he not be angry? However, he really couldn't defeat these two young people. Now, he regretted that he didn't look at them before he attacked. If he had checked in advance, he should have found these two people. At that time, he could have hidden and wouldn't have been embarrassed like now. Now, the scene really made him feel like a year. It was abnormally ugly. But fortunately, at this moment, someone saved him. In the distance, an extremely bright light appeared. Then, the roars of all kinds of divine beasts sounded. Between heaven and earth, a ray of light shrouded the whole space. Countless people turned their heads and looked, exclaiming, "Heaven and earth anomaly!" Even Lin Xian and Xue Qi stopped. They turned their heads and looked into the distance. Someone was coming. Xue Qi was surprised. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. It's that person from the Yu clan. He could feel the bloodline of the Yu clan in that person. Interesting. Let me see just what kind of talent he has, right? Lin Xian stood in front of the valley with his hands behind his back. At the same time, in the distance, a figure walked over. Under this figure, the great path surrounded by endless light. Around him, there were 4 terrifying demonic beast phantoms. These 4 demonic beasts were the dragon of the 9 underworlds, the fire of the 9 underworlds, the phoenix of the 9 underworlds, and the turtle of the 9 underworlds. If they were in the outside universe, they would be called the 4 divine beasts. In the 9 underworlds, they were also existences like the Saint Beast totems. Generally, any person accompanied by such a heaven and earth anomaly would be able to shake heaven and earth. Now, all 4 of the Saint Beast totems were surrounding a person. The scene was really shocking. Countless people exclaimed, "God, this is Yu Tianqin of the Yu clan. His talent is too strong." For sacred beast totems circled around his body. How terrifying was his talent! This person, after becoming a great emperor, would be able to go very far. "Greetings, young Master Yu Tianqin." The surrounding people bowed one after another. All sorts of shouts and shouts resounded like a sudden clap of thunder. Old Demon Yu also smiled and said, "Young Master, you're here." He could finally heave a sigh of relief, because all the glory would return to the Yu family. Yu Tianqin nodded. He was surrounded by 4 Saint Beast totems. He was like a god, high and mighty. He looked at the valley and said, "Is the thing still inside?" Naturally, the great emperor of Yu clan laughed and said, "No one dares to take it." When he said this, he deliberately glared at Lin Xian and said, "But what? Is there anyone who dares to go against us? Just kill him." Yu Tianqin said indifferently, The old demon of the Yu clan took a deep breath and said, "The people this time are not ordinary. The two of them are great emperors." After he spoke, he pointed at Lin Xian and Xueqi. "Oh, these two people." His gaze landed on her. "What a beautiful woman. She's actually a great emperor-level genius." He acknowledged this person. However, the young man next to her was obviously not a great emperor. Is this person also very powerful? Is it possible that he's more powerful than me? Thinking of this, a trace of disdain appeared in his eyes. He was a person who was about to become a great emperor. He didn't care about anything. So he said, "Ancestor, I'll leave that woman to you. As for the other guy, leave him to me." After that, he walked forward. "Wait," the old demon of the Yu clan said. "You can't do it." "What?" Yu Tianchen frowned. "Ancestor, you don't believe me. Do you think I'm not as good as him?" The old demon of the Yu clan didn't know what to say. Now, for Yu Tianchen, the most important thing was confidence. He couldn't attack the other party at this time. However, the guy in front of him was too terrifying. Once they fought, it would not be just a matter of attacking. It was very likely that he would end up miserable. Just as he was thinking about how to tell the other party tactfully, Yu Tianchen snorted coldly. "I want to see if he has 3 heads and 6 arms. I can't touch him." After that, he quickly walked over. "Look!" the surrounding people exclaimed in surprise. They saw Yu Tianchen walking toward the 2 people in front of him with the 4 Saint Beast totems. These 2 people were going to be unlucky. Yes, can these 2 young people really challenge the Yu clan? I feel that they will end up miserable. Do you dare to fight with me? Yu Tianchen looked down and pointed at Lin Xian. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and said, "You haven't proved your Tao yet. You are no match for me. So, you don't deserve it. Not to mention you. Even your ancestor is no match for me. Look at him. How dare he be arrogant in front of me? Get out of here. I want the thing inside." Everyone went crazy. What is this young man doing? Is he challenging Yu Tianchen? He's too reckless. After all, Lin Xian didn't release any powerful aura. No one knew who Lin Xian was. In their opinion, no one in the younger generation could challenge Yu Tian City. Yu Tianchen's face also darkened. He snorted and said, "I don't know how many years has passed since anyone dared to look down on me. Boy, you will regret your words and actions." After that, he waved his embroidered robe, and an extremely terrible moonlight power flew out. It was like a knife light, chilling people's hearts. This boy will be split in half. That's for sure. How can he resist it? The biting cold knife light suddenly collapsed in front of Lin Xian. It turned into countless moonlight fragments and scattered on the ground. Well, what's going on? Many people frowned. Yu Tianchen was also stunned. Is it the woman next to him? Who helped him? He said, "Boy, standing behind a woman. What are you? If you have the guts, come out and fight." "I'm afraid you can't bear it," Lin Xian said lightly. Damn it. An extremely terrible moonlight appeared on Yu Tianchen's body. It was his immortal qi seed. It was only 1 step away from the real immortal qi. He formed a seal with his palms and formed an extremely terrible Milky Way. It crossed the ages and attacked. The Milky Way was upside down and swept across the 9 heavens. Everyone was terrified. Yu Tianchen was really too powerful. Is this the person who is about to prove his Tao? It's too terrifying. Only a real great emperor could resist him. A few of the old 9 crowned kings were amazed. After hearing this, the others were even more shocked. They wanted to know how Lin Xian was going to resist it. Facing such a terrible attack, Lin Xian smiled disdainfully. Then he stretched out a finger and pointed forward. The 9 suns' divine fire danced on his fingertip. Then the whole world was completely boiling. This finger carried a terrible flame and turned into a divine sword, piercing through the world. With a boom, the world was shattered. The Milky Way in the sky was quickly evaporated under this finger. Countless clouds and mist filled the air, forming a sea of clouds. This finger directly pierced through Yu Tianchen's body. With a scream, blood dyed the 9 heavens. Yu Tianchen was seriously injured. He was defeated in one move. The people below looked up. At this moment, they were stunned. Who is this young man? Is he a young great emperor? Chapter 60:35. The scene in front of them shocked everyone. Yu Tian City's young master, who was about to prove his Tao, was injured by someone just like that. Who was the young man who attacked Yu Tian? When the old demon of the Yu family saw this scene, he exclaimed, "How dare you?" He quickly rushed over to save Yu Tianchen. However, Lin Xian was faster. He waved his hand, and endless sword qi shrouded Yu Tianchen and brought him to his side. Then he stepped on Yu Tianchen's head. Yu Tianchen was completely stunned. He was about to prove his Tao. He was high and mighty. He ignored everything. In his opinion, he could easily kill a young man. But in the end, the other party beat him to a pulp with a single finger. Now, he was stepped on by someone. He couldn't accept this. He roared to the sky and vomited blood. His lungs were about to burst. "I don't believe it. Who are you? Who are you? How can you defeat me? You are a great emperor, aren't you? You are an old monster." In his opinion, if the young man was a great emperor, he could accept it. However, Lin Xian snorted coldly and slapped the other party's body, shattering the other party's bones. Blood flew out. Many of his bones were broken. Lin Xian said indifferently, "Shut up. I can only tell you regretfully that I am not a great emperor. I am just a quasi-emperor." How could this be? Yu Tianchen's Taoist heart was broken and cracked. He couldn't accept that a quasi-emperor was stronger than him. Why would he be defeated by someone? Why did the young man appear on the eve of his Tao? Was he a demon? Was he here to punish him? Let him go. The old demon of the Yu family said coldly, "Otherwise, you will regret it. Although you are strong, the foundation of the Yu family is not something you can imagine. Old ancestor, why are you talking nonsense with him? Hurry up and attack." Yu Tianchen roared crazily. The Yu family's Chinamo had no choice but to rush over. The moon behind him rose into the sky and formed a hazy light that shrouded the sky and earth. Everyone felt a shiver run down their spines. The wrath of a great emperor was extremely terrifying. At this moment, Xue Qi, who was next to him, attacked. Zhang Xian waved his hand, and a frightening amount of ice burst forth, morphing into the divine Nine palm that enveloped the entire area. He fought with the old demon of the Yu clan. Oh, heavens! This woman is actually a great emperor? No way! Which family is she from? Everyone knelt on the ground, their bodies trembling. Who would have thought that little fairy, who was as beautiful as a fairy at such a young age, would actually possess such terrifying strength? Damn it, the old demon of the Yu clan also had an ugly expression. At this time, a long howl came from afar. Then someone stepped on Moonfire and quickly flew over. This was a middle-aged man. The chicken on his body was terrifying, divine flames surging through heaven and earth. He was the other great emperor of the Yu family. It's great that he's here. Stop it! Yu clan's old demon angrily shouted. The newcomer spat out divine flames and charged toward Lin Xian. Die! The great emperor was infuriated. The divine flame on his body was terrifying, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. It was as if the god of slaughter from ancient times had come back to life, staring at Lin Xian. "Kid, you're dead." Yu Tianchen, who was under his feet, burst into laughter. Although Zhang Xian had defeated him, he was still a great emperor. However, he was still not a martial monarch. He could not be compared to a real martial monarch. Lin Xian stretched out his hand and flicked his finger. Sword qi roared, and streaks of sword light soared into the sky. It split all the moonfire in the sky. That's impossible. Yu Tianqian was going crazy. This is a real divine flame. How did he split it? He seemed to have seen the most incredible thing. The great emperor of the Yu clan was the same. He was called the Moonlight Great Emperor. His moonlight divine flame was extremely terrifying. Could it be that he couldn't defeat Zhang Xian? Damn it. He looked up to the sky and roared. The divine flame on his body condensed into a palace, like the Night Heaven Palace, and fell down mercilessly. From inside, an extremely terrifying and unknown creature emerged. That creature was shrouded in white mist, and only a pair of eyes could be seen. A pair of flame-like eyes pierced through the void. At this moment, countless people were terrified. Yu Tianqian laughed. Great, the great ancestor is serious. You're dead. He knew that this move was the unique skill of his family's great ancestor. Was he serious? Then do you know what I look like when I'm serious? Lin Xian waved his sleeve. An endless sword chi surged. Cosmo sword formation. All things as swords. At this moment, millions of sword chi shrouded the world. The scene was extremely shocking. Everyone went crazy. Every single one of them could easily pierce through Nine-Crown King. Millions of sword chi, even a great emperor. So, what? Even if he was shrouded, he would die without a doubt. In the next moment, the two attacks collided, and a deafening sound was heard. The unknown creature that walked out of the Moon Palace was torn to pieces in an instant. The sword chi in the sky rushed toward the Moonlight Great Emperor. Impossible! The Moonlight Great Emperor roared crazily. He turned around and ran away. Damn it. What the hell was going on? Why was the opponent's strength so terrifying? In the next moment, he was hit by some sword chi. Immediately, he spat out a mouthful of blood. The great emperor's blood pierced through the world, and the ninth heaven shook violently. At this moment, everyone looked up, dumbfounded. Yu Tianqian was even more dumbfounded. The real great emperor of his family was injured by the opponent. What kind of sword chi was this? It was too sharp. Stop. I admit defeat. The Moonlight Great Emperor roared. He didn't dare to attack again. The old demon of the Yu family also retreated. Their faces were full of horror. They cupped their fists and said, "Young master, who are you?" At this moment, they didn't dare to be careless. The great emperor saluted. Countless people were stunned. For thousands of years, the great emperor was high and mighty, above everything. Below the great emperor, everyone was an ant. But now, he was indeed like an ant below the great emperor. They couldn't believe it. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back. "My name is Lin Wudi." What an arrogant name. But they had never heard of it. The two great emperors of the Yu family frowned. "So it's young Master Wudi. How did we offend you? Please forgive us, young master. We apologize. You are high and mighty, looking down on all living things like ants. You want to kill me with a wave of your hand. Tell me, how did you offend me?" Hearing this, the old demon of the Yu family's face became extremely ugly. They didn't know that the ant in their eyes was actually a giant dragon. This time, they really kicked an iron plate. The Moonlight Great Emperor bowed deeply. "We sincerely apologize for what happened before. We don't want the natural treasures in the valley. We give them to you. We hope you can be merciful and let Yu Tianqian go." Now, they were most nervous about Yu Tianqian, who was suppressed. This was an extremely promising genius of the family. In the future, he could go very far on the road of the great emperor. If he died now, they couldn't explain it. "You mean him?" Lin Xian looked down at Yu Tianqian. Then the corners of his mouth rose. "Don't worry, I won't kill him. He doesn't deserve it, and I have other uses for him. After all, he was a very good testing stone for his saber." Chapter 6036. He didn't deserve it. Yu Tianchen was furious when he heard this. Although he had been saved, he felt extremely aggrieved. Damn it, I want revenge. I must take revenge. He roared crazily in his heart. When he became a great emperor, he would kill him with his own hands. Get lost! Lin Xian sent him flying with a kick. Xue Qi sent a voice transmission to him. Husband, are you keeping him for Elder Xia? That's right. Lin Xian nodded. Elder Xia was about to become a great emperor, and he needed a battle. Therefore, this guy was the best enemy. Let him be Elder Xia's stepping stone. This was the main reason why he didn't kill him. Tianchen, are you okay? The two great emperors of the Yu family quickly took Yu Tianchen and protected him with their dharma. Yu Tian, Chen gritted his teeth. Damn it, this guy is too evil. Let's leave here first and go back to recover. The three of them turned into flowing lights and disappeared. They had escaped. Two great emperors and a top genius of the Yu family had escaped in such a sorry state. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. When they looked at Lin Xian, their eyes were filled with fear. Let's go. Then Lin Xian turned around and walked toward the Soul Valley in front of him. Everyone could only look on enviously. No one dared to compete with Lin Xian. Xue Qi also followed beside him. The two of them were like two great emperors. The dharma on their bodies split the world. Lin Xian's eyes were shining with a terrifying light. They tore apart the power of the Soul Valley and walked in. After they entered, countless soul fires appeared around them. Then they turned into a soul sword and floated between heaven and earth. The powerful aura terrified those below the great emperor realm. However, Lin Xian and Xue Qi didn't mind at all. After all, they were still able to withstand this pressure. Lin Xian was surprised. There are so many immortal qi fragments. Indeed, there were 5 immortal artifact fragments in the Soul Valley. It would be very helpful for him to improve his immortal qi seed. Lin Xian waved his hand and grabbed forward. The soul sword erupted with a piercingly cold radiance as it slashed down from the sky. The dazzling power wanted to force Lin Xian back. In an instant, the void was torn apart and countless soul sword qi engulfed Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian snorted coldly. His Rinnegan shone brightly as he activated the 6 paths of reincarnation. The illusions of the 6 worlds completely enveloped the millions of sword qi. The next moment, Lin Xian shouted coldly, "Phantom of the Samsara Sword." Previously, when he possessed the 3 Taos of heaven, earth, and man, he could already strike out the phantom of the Samsara Sword. Now that he had the complete Rinnegan, it was much easier for him to form the phantom of the Samsara Sword. Furthermore, he possessed a fragment of the reincarnation sword. At this moment, he didn't even need to use the fragment of the reincarnation sword. This illusion was more than enough to contend against the soul sword before him. A phantom appeared between heaven and earth. It carried the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation and shone with a sacred aura. As the sword slashed down, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The entire world seemed to be reincarnated. The surrounding soul flames kept flickering. In the next moment, they were completely extinguished. The soul flames shook violently and let out a ferocious cry. The murderous intent on the soul flames became even more terrifying. It wanted to contend against the Samsara Sword. The two collided and exploded continuously. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The Samsara Sword slashed down fiercely and sent the soul sword flying. The soul sword became dim. Its body swayed as it tried to escape. Xue Qi shouted coldly, "Where do you think you're going?" She froze the world. The 9 mysterious ice covered heaven and earth, turning everything into a world of ice and snow. The power of the great emperor froze the entire valley. When the people outside saw this scene, they retreated in horror. What a terrifying chill. Those below the great emperor realm might not be able to withstand it. Even if they were great emperors, they would have to avoid it. These people were too terrifying. The Sword of Souls was also frozen. It struggled, but it couldn't escape at all. In the end, it was covered by the Rinnegan. Lin Xian began to seize the immortal chi fragments on it. "Who are you?" The soul sword in front of him roared angrily. Lin Xian said, "I'll only take the immortal chi fragments. I won't hurt you. If you resist again, I'll break the sword and destroy your body and soul. Don't doubt my words." Lin Xian rushed out again. This was a piercingly cold sword chi. This was an invincible power. The soul sword was shocked. It felt the sword chi and was extremely shocked. Obviously, the other party was still holding back. It fell silent. After a while, it said, "I'll give you any immortal chi. Please spare my life." The soul sword arrived at noon. The immortal chi fragments flew out and were taken away by Lin Xian. In the next moment, the ice in the sky disappeared. Lin Xian waved his hand and opened it. Shui Qi flew into the sky and disappeared. After the two of them had left, the Sword of Souls fell down. It heaved a sigh of relief. This young man is even more terrifying. Although he hasn't become a great emperor, he has surpassed a great emperor. Who is he? Has such a terrifying master appeared in the 9th underworld? Fortunately, this time, the other party only took the immortal chi fragments and didn't attack it. Otherwise, it would have died. The Yu family, they lived in the ancient city and were a top family. However, at this moment, they were extremely angry. Two great emperors came back in a sorry state, and Moon Sky City was damaged. This was an earth-shattering event. Who was it? Who was so reckless? They investigated and found that it was two young people, a man and a woman. Their strength was terrifying. The leader of the Yu family said, in a deep voice, "These two people are secretly watching them. We can't let them escape. When Tianqin breaks through and becomes a great emperor, it will be time for us to fight back. Now, we must gather the family's resources and quickly restore Tianqin to his peak." Originally, there were several immortal artifact fragments in the Soul Valley. After he got them, he could start to prove his Tao. Now that he didn't succeed, we can only use other methods. We spent a lot of money to exchange for 3 immortal chi fragments from the Suspense family. Now, let's give them all to Tianqin. With these 3 immortal chi fragments, he should be able to break through and prove his Tao. Thank you, leader. I will not let you down. Tianqin's eyes shone with a cold light. Next, he went into seclusion. Several great emperors personally helped him recover from his injuries. Next, he swallowed the 3 immortal chi fragments and began to prove his Tao and become a great emperor. On the other side, Lin Xian and Shui Qi also returned to the 9th peak. Sensing Xia Zhiyou's aura, they were surprised. It's about time. He should be able to prove his Tao in a month. I have to be careful during this month, Lin Xian said. Then he entered the sword world and began to cultivate. After obtaining 5 immortal chi fragments, Lin Xian had to absorb them well. The immortal chi seed in his left eye shone brightly and began to absorb the power of the immortal chi fragments. Many things happened in this month. For example, after the news of what happened in the Soul Valley spread, countless families and sects in the 9th underworld were shocked. The 2 great emperors of the Yu family were scared away, and Yu Qiancheng was injured. Who did it? I don't know. Which force did those 2 young people belong to? Will Tianqin's Tao be affected and become a great emperor? Who knows? However, on this day, a piece of news came. Tianqin was going to prove his Tao. Chapter 6037. After the news spread, the world was in an uproar. The people of the 9 serenities were stunned. What? He's going to prove his Tao. That's fast, right? Didn't they say that he was injured? I originally estimated that he wouldn't be able to prove his Tao within 3 years. I didn't expect that he would start to prove his Tao within a month. The foundation of the Yu family is really strong. As expected of the people living in the ancient city, countless people were envious. At the same time, the Yu family also became nervous. They had already informed a few of the major clans in the ancient city in advance. They asked them not to make a move. The few big families had received benefits from the Yu family, so they acquiesced in it. After all, there would also be geniuses in their families who would prove their Tao in the future. If the two sides launched a sneak attack, the consequences would be endless and would last for many years. If the people of these families didn't make a move, the people outside were nothing to be afraid of. The people of the Yu family were completely relaxed. This time, Yu Qiancheng would definitely succeed in proving his Tao. An extremely cold aura came from the Yu family. In the sky, 2 moons appeared, and they kept rotating. Under the moonlight, it seemed to cover the entire ancient city and swept in all directions. Above the 9 serenities, dark clouds filled the sky, and a monstrous aura condensed. Those dark clouds seemed to cover the moon, and there were large amounts of lightning spreading. Proving one's Tao and becoming a great emperor was extremely dangerous because one had to resist the lightning of the heavenly path. Only by enduring it could one become a great emperor. They had made a lot of preparations. After all, the Yu family had more than one great emperor, so they were very experienced. In their opinion, although it was dangerous to accept the heavenly path this time, in the end, it would be more daunting than dangerous. More and more lightning bolts filled the air. They were just waiting for the best opportunity to strike. Countless clans and sects raised their heads to look at the ancient city in the distance and the thick, dark clouds. The lightning that Prince Tianqian attracted is too terrifying. A new great emperor is going to appear in the 9 serenities. Countless exclamations were heard. At the same time, a figure stood on the peak of the 9th summit. His black robe fluttered, and his incomparably handsome face was frowning slightly at this moment. He was Lin Xian. What a terrifying lightning. Is someone going to prove his Tao? Xueqi, who was wearing snow-white clothes, walked over. He said, "That's right. This is the thunder of the heavenly Tao. I have experienced it before. From the looks of it, it should be that person from the Yu family who was going to affirm his Tao." Then he looked at Elder Xia. "Is that okay?" Lin Xian said, "Believe in Elder Xia. This time, he will definitely be the one to affirm his Tao and become an emperor." Right after he finished speaking, a roar rang out. A furious roar came from the 9th summit. Following that, a figure soared into the sky. His body was surrounded by a terrifying light as he soared into the clouds. Immediately, above the 9 heavens, starlight flickered, resonating with each other. A terrifying and vast power spread out in all directions from the 9th summit. Countless dark clouds quickly gathered together, letting out rumbling sounds of thunder. It was as if a destructive power was about to appear. In the 9th summit, the 9 underworld spirit was trembling in fear. That youth was also shocked. His name was Bu Tian. He raised his head and exclaimed, "What a terrifying thunder! Big brother, what happened?" Grandpa, beside him, Xia Xingchen also exclaimed, "Are you going to prove your Tao?" He was really excited. Lin Xian's figure flashed, and he came to the 9th summit. He said, "Don't be afraid. Elder Xia is going to break through. I'll protect you first." After that, Lin Xian waved his hand and formed 2 vortexes enveloping Bu Tian and Xia Xingchen. The 2 of them were enveloped in the vortexes by the extreme power. Only then did they let out a sigh of relief. The 2 of them looked outside with their cute big eyes. Lin Xian took a deep breath. His expression was extremely serious. He took out the immortal slaying sword. He said to Xueqi, Elder Xia is going to break through. The Xia family won't come for the time being. However, the Yu family will definitely not let this go. At that time, there might be an earth-shattering battle. Xueqi said, "Don't worry, husband. I'm not afraid of anything." Sure enough, Xia Juyo's aura also spread out in all directions. Immediately, the surrounding families and sects were stunned. What's going on? Why do I feel a super strong power again? Look, what's that in the south? Those are dark clouds. Monstrous dark clouds are gathering. What a terrifying thunder. That's the thunder of heavenly Tao. Someone is going to prove his Tao and break through to become a great emperor. No way. On the same day, at the same time, two thunder of heavenly Tao were going to fall. The two of them were going to break through and become great emperors together. It was incredible. Even the people in the ancient city were alarmed. The people of the Nanling family looked into the distance. They were surprised. Someone is going to challenge the Yu family. It's obviously because of Yu Qiancheng. Although there are two thunder of heavenly Tao, in the end, only one of them can prove his Tao and become a great emperor. Who will succeed? Interesting, the people of the Xianin family also laughed. It's not us who want to fight. Someone else wants to challenge you. Can you handle it? These big families were discussing among themselves. When the Yu family heard the news, their faces became gloomy. Obviously, this person didn't give them face. He didn't come early or late, but he just had to prove his Tao with the Yu family. What was he trying to do? Who was proving his Tao? Kill him in advance. They absolutely couldn't let him affect Tiancheng. The Yu family issued an order. Immediately, the great emperor soared into the sky. It was the Moonlight Great Emperor and the old demon of the Yu family. The two of them were very fast. With infinite starlight of the great Tao, they flew toward the 9th peak. Before they arrived, the two of them slapped out a shocking palm. Two big hands broke through the air, as if they had descended from the immortal realm. They were going to suppress all directions. Buzz, Xia, Jiu's body shook. The 9 nether soul below also exclaimed, "Oh no, someone is coming to attack." Lin Xian snorted coldly. "I've been waiting for this." With a wave of his hand, the immortal slaying sword slashed out. Xueqi also took out the 9 nether sword and slashed out. The two of them were very strong. Immediately, the big hands in the sky were sent flying. In the next moment, they soared into the sky. You two again. Lin Xian's eyes were filled with cold killing intent after seeing Lin Xian, the Moonlight Great Emperor, and the Yu family's old demon's eyelids twitched wildly. Previously, they were scared away by Lin Xian. They didn't expect to see him again. Could it be that he was going to break through and become a great emperor? No, it wasn't him. It was that old man. They saw Xia Juyo. They went around to stop him. The two of them flew quickly, wanting to attack Xia Juyo. They waved their long swords and used the Qianquan sword technique. Everything was a sword. The sword of heaven and earth. 100,000 swords swept across the world. The Yu family's old demon was sent flying by the sword chi. A few cracks appeared on his body. He was extremely frightened. On the other side, the Moonlight Great Emperor was also sent flying by a pitch-black long sword. The power of the 9 nether on it made him vomit blood. How could it be? The two of them were so strong. He found that the two of them were much stronger than a month ago. Could it be that they didn't use their full strength before? No one could stop Elder Xia from breaking through. Lin Xian waved his long sword and split the world. Those who crossed the line would die. His voice was filled with infinite killing intent. Chapter 6038. Damn it, go back to the family and ask the great emperors to come here. The Yu family's foundation was extremely powerful. After 300,000 years, the Yu family was still standing. They were definitely not comparable to the Yu family. You want to leave? Lin Xian raised his sword and charged over. He and Xue Qi used the combination of yin and yang and launched a peerless attack together. The two of them were torn apart and spat out mouthfuls of blood. They roared in horror. "Kid, just you wait." The two of them quickly fled. Lin Xian said, "Qi, you stay here and guard Elder Xia. I'll go and kill them." Lin Xian rushed into the distance with his sword. He fought against the entire Yu family alone. "Husband, be careful," Xue Qi shouted from behind. In the next moment, she waved her hand. An endless 9-yin mysterious ice covered the entire 9th peak. She wouldn't let anyone take another step forward. In the void, two blood-red lights danced. They were the two great emperors of the Yu family. They were seriously injured. The combination of the 9-yin and 9-yang made them unable to resist. They were ready to return to their families. Old Demon Yu said, "Damn it, he's here again. That kid is here." The Moonlight Great Emperor also roared, "He's going too far." The two of them kept burning their immortal energy and sped up. They saw the ancient castle in front of them. In the next moment, they rushed into the ancient city. Great! The ancient city was their family's territory. No matter how strong the other party was, he couldn't behave atrociously here. Next, they would take revenge. They would pay back 10 times, or even 100 times. They would let the other party know what despair was. The people in the ancient city were also stunned. Two great emperors were injured, and they were in such a sorry state. Who was the expert that did this? The people of the Xianin family and the Nanling family were even more shocked. Could it be the force of another Dao verifier? They were so powerful. "Kid, come in if you have the guts." Old Demon Yu roared crazily. Outside the ancient city, a cold voice came. "Do you think you can challenge me after entering the ancient city? How stupid." Hearing this voice, the people in the ancient city looked outside. There was a figure standing in the void outside. It was a young figure surrounded by sword energy. He looked like a sword god. Not only that, but there was also a kind of flame energy on his body. The other party was high up in the air, like a sun shining down on the world. The gloomy and cold aura above the pitch-black geo-ancient city became much dimmer. Inside the ancient city, countless people frowned. "I hate the light. This power made me very uncomfortable. How could the 9 serenities have such a pure and masculine power? Who was he?" Countless voices could be heard. The faces of the people of the major clans also changed drastically. "This guy doesn't seem to be from the 9th serenity." Boom! At this moment, Lin Xian made his move. Slapping out with his palm, he transformed into a sun that descended directly into the ancient city. The old demon of the Yu clan was sent flying. The body that the old demon of the Yu clan had just reformed was torn apart once again. This scene was extremely shocking. In the ancient city, countless experts went crazy. Since when was the great emperor so weak? The other party actually dared to make a move. The Moonlight Emperor also exclaimed, "Retreat! Retreat quickly! Let's go back to the family." They hurriedly called for help. The people of the Yu clan were all nervously paying attention to the situation in Moon Sky City. They didn't care about the other Dao verifier. They sent out 2 great emperors, but they still couldn't kill the other party. But at this moment, they heard screams outside the family. Outside the ancient city, there was a golden radiance that was like the sun. What was going on? Did someone come to the ancient city to behave atrociously? For tens of thousands of years, no one dared to come to the ancient city to behave atrociously, because there were too many experts here, and there was more than one great emperor. Whoever came here was courting death. In the next moment, 2 figures flew into the courtyard of the Yu clan. The people of the Yu clan were all stunned. These 2 ancestors were injured. Who injured them? The patriarch of the Yu clan even walked out. He frowned tightly. "What's going on?" The Moonlight Emperor said, He's here. That kid is here. He's outside the city. He wants to kill us. Soon, the people of the Yu clan understood that another Dao Verifier's force had come. How many people were there? They watched nervously, but when they found that there was only one person, they were all stunned. A man with a sword came to the ancient city to behave atrociously. He was really reckless. I'm going to kill him. Another figure walked out. This was a tall man. He was the third great emperor of the Yu clan. His name was Yulei. His voice carried a thunderous aura as he soared into the sky. Before Shao Qin could leave the clan, a lightning hammer ruthlessly smashed down, heading for the outside of the ancient city. With a bang, the void outside the ancient city kept shattering. The great emperor made another move. Countless people exclaimed. This was the great Emperor Yulei, who was famous in the ancient city. Buzz. The divine fire on Lin Xian's body was like the sun, burning continuously. His fists danced. 9 suns' divine fist. Thousands of suns fell, enveloping the ancient city. The ancient city shook violently. The people inside were shocked. This feeling was like the end of the world. The light expelled the darkness. The thunder god's hammer in the sky was instantly blasted out. The entire Yu clan was affected. This sun-like power, the Yu clan's array began to defend. Many array formations were broken through. This was too much. The old demon of the Yu clan and the Moonlight Emperor joined forces to resist. Damn it, this kid was so strong. Impossible? Our clan has 4 great emperors. Can we kill him? The 3 of you go together. The patriarch of the Yu clan was also a great emperor. However, he disdained to make a move. With a wave of his hand, the 3 great emperors charged out again. The old demon of the Yu clan snorted coldly. Kid, you 9 yin and 9 yang were very powerful when you joined forces. But now, there's only you. Let's see how you can make a move. The 3 sneered. Everyone in the ancient city was also watching. That kid was dead for sure. Yes, even if he was a great emperor facing the siege of 3 people, he would definitely be defeated. Not only would he be defeated, he might not even be able to escape. He might very well die here. Indeed, it was very difficult for a great emperor to die. However, if it was an absolute kill, the other party would definitely not be able to survive. 3 great emperors. This was a power that exceeded how many times? This person would definitely die. Buzz. Lin Xian didn't talk nonsense. With a wave of his hand, the universe ring flew out. He directly charged into the old demon of the Yu clan. The old demon of the Yu clan's body was pierced through. The great emperor's blood stained the sky. He let out a miserable cry. Attack. The other party actually dared to launch a sneak attack. The moonlight great emperor charged over, and the moonlight blades that filled the sky slashed down from the sky. Lin Xian waved the immortal slaying sword, combined with the power of the great dragon sword, and cut off the other party's arm with one sword. When the second sword fell, there was a dragon-like war between heaven and earth, the body that was split into 2 halves. He found that he couldn't heal. That pain had caused permanent damage to him. Damn it, what kind of power was this? Boom. The 3rd great emperor of the moon, Thunder, made a move. The thunder hammer hit Lin Xian's body, sending him flying. He landed below. It was a kill. Everyone exclaimed. But soon, Lin Xian walked out of the crack. Cracks appeared on his body. However, the 9 yang divine body instantly healed. Was this a monster? 3 great emperors working together couldn't kill him. On the contrary, the other party seriously injured 2 great emperors as soon as he made a move. Chapter 6039. Who are you? The leader of the Yu family was no longer calm. He had never heard of such strength. I am Lin Wudi. What an arrogant name. Never heard of it. Never heard of it before. It didn't matter. In the future, this name would shine like the sun in the sky. he would become a legend. Arrogant. Many experts snorted. They felt that Lin Xian was too arrogant. The leader of the Yu family also said, "Are you here to stop Tianqin from proving his Tao?" "I won't agree." Lin Xian smiled. "I have a suggestion. I hope you can accept it." That was to have two people from the righteous path engage in a huge battle. The winner proves his Tao, and the loser scram. Do you dare? The people in the ancient city below were shocked when they heard this. It was unbelievable. Proving one's Tao was already very dangerous. After all, one had to undergo the baptism of the heavenly Tao. It was a narrow escape. A big battle at this time would be even more dangerous. Was this kid crazy? The leader of the Yu family also snorted. "We have the absolute advantage. Why should we fight with you? Don't you think it's ridiculous?" Lin Xian laughed. "Absolute advantage? Are you sure? I have ways to stop him from proving his Tao. If you don't believe me, feel it." Lin Xian activated the power of the great dragon sword soul. Suddenly, countless dragon roars sounded between heaven and earth. The terrifying power shook the entire ancient city. Damn it, what kind of energy is this? It's so sharp. The people around were shocked. Not to mention the Yu family, the Nanling family, and the Xianin family were also facing a big enemy. This person had a transcendent power. I admit that the Yu family has 4 great emperors. It's not easy for me to kill you, but it's much easier for me to stop him from proving his Tao. Are you sure you want to continue? What should we do? The other 3 great emperors looked at the leader of the Yu family. The leader of the Yu family said, "Wait, let's see if we can join forces with the other families." The other 2 families were not weaker than them. If any of the families joined forces with them, it would be easy to kill the other party. As if he had seen through the other party's intentions, Lin Xian said in a low voice, "Today's matter is between me and the Yu clan. I hope that no one else will interfere. If anyone wants to join hands with the Yu family, then they are my enemy. I will use the rest of my life to hunt down the entire family and ensure that not a single one of them will be left alive." A cold voice rang out, causing everyone in the ancient city to feel their scalps go numb. The Xianin clan and the Nanlin clan were originally considering whether or not to join forces. Hearing this, they immediately shook their heads. If they couldn't kill him in one strike and let him escape, he would become their family's nightmare. Therefore, they all refused. Damn it, the Yu clan leader also gritted his teeth, his expression extremely ugly. Lin Xian smiled. "You have no other choice. All right, I'll do as you say." When the time came, it would only be a battle between the 2 of them. No one else was allowed to make a move. "No problem. I'll choose the location between the 9th summit and the ancient city. Tell your men to come out." With that, Lin Xian waved his hand, and a spatial array appeared. The next moment, it disappeared. So dangerous! The Nanlin clan and the Xianin clan were shocked. Fortunately, they didn't join forces before. Otherwise, if they joined forces and the other party escaped using the spatial array, the consequences would be unimaginable. On the 9th summit, Xueqi was nervously guarding it. When she saw Lin Xian return, she heaved a sigh of relief. "How did it go?" she asked. Lin Xian said, "The Yu family agreed. Elder Xia, you and Yu Qiancheng can fight. This battle will be absolutely fair. They won't interfere." Lin Gongzi, "Thank you." Xia Jiu roared at the sky. The great Tao on his body was even more terrifying. All kinds of strange phenomena appeared in the world. Then he flew into the distance. At the same time, a figure also flew out from the Yu family. It was Yu Tianqin. Yu Tianqin was surrounded by 4 Saint Beast totems. At this moment, countless people looked into the distance. Heavens, these 2 people were about to prove their Tao. They were about to fight. They didn't know who would be stronger in this battle. The people in the ancient city had also arrived, except for the 4 great emperors of the Yu family. The people from the other 2 clans had also arrived. After all, this was a rare Tao-proving battle. It was an old man. Yu Qianqian's face was cold. He had thought that his Tao-proving battle would be very smooth, but he didn't expect that someone would want to compete with him. Moreover, when he saw that the other party was just an old man, he sneered. "Old man, you don't have much time left. You want to prove your Tao? What do you have to compete with me? I'm young and full of vigor. My blood is boiling. My strength and soul are all at the youngest and most powerful state. How can you be my opponent?" He roared at the sky, and a moon appeared in the sky. This huge moon seemed to cover the entire land. Countless people were terrified. So strong. Young Master Tiancheng was really too strong. Yes, he was right. Being young and full of vigor was the biggest advantage. Would this old man be able to withstand it? Don't die in the process of the battle. It was useless to say more. They would know after the battle. Xia Zhiyu said coldly. He had been waiting for this day for many years. So this time, he wouldn't fail. "Old man, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Yu Tianqian roared in anger and flew forward. The moonlight in the sky fell and turned into a moonlight sword. It flickered continuously. The Tao-proving battle broke out in an instant, and everyone retreated. Even the great emperors retreated frantically. No one dared to make a move at this time, because the heavenly Tao lightning in the sky had already descended. If the great emperors were to enter, they would probably trigger the great emperor lightning tribulation. If they weren't careful, the great emperors would be turned into ashes. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. This way, no one would dare to make a move. This was also the reason why he dared to let Xia Zhiyu make a move. Because although they had fewer great emperors on their side, they were under the heavenly Tao. Even the great emperors couldn't interfere. The Yu family's clan leader said in a deep voice, "Tianqian could only rely on himself." The Yu family's old demon said, "Don't worry, clan leader. Tianqian will definitely not let us down." As soon as he said that, Xia Zhiyu roared. Then, a 9 underworld gate seemed to be opened. An endless cold aura swept across. The moonlight sword in the sky shattered continuously. Xia Zhiyu sent Yu Tianqian flying with a punch. Half of Yu Qianqian's body cracked open, and fresh blood dripped down. He roared crazily. Impossible! The Yu family was stunned. The 4 great emperors were dumbfounded. How could this be? The others exclaimed in shock. This old man was too strong. Didn't they say that he didn't have much life left and his blood qi had dried up? Why did it feel so terrifying? Chapter 6040. Damn it, I don't believe it. Yu Tianqian rushed over again. He blocked the lightning in the sky and attacked Xia Zhiyu, immortal sword under the moon. He shouted angrily. The great Tao Law in his hand formed into a first-grade sword light and stabbed forward. This was his ultimate move. Below the 9 underworlds, 9 underworlds made a strange sound. It was as if an ancient god had awakened. The great Tao heavenly sound shook everyone and made their blood boil. Even the martial monarchs were astounded. This bloodline was the bloodline of the Xia family. How was this possible? Was she from the Xia family? Everyone went crazy. The experts from the Yu family were dumbfounded as well. The Xia family was an existence that was even more terrifying than them. The Yu family had existed for 300,000 years. In these 300,000 years, they had 4 great emperors. Relying on this powerful force, they entered the ancient city. They could be said to be the overlord of this area. However, compared to the Xia family, they were nothing, because the Xia family had existed for millions of years. They had more great emperors than them. It was even said that the Xia family had an earth immortal realm expert. That was the real giant in the 9 underworlds. It was terrifying to the extreme. It was an existence that they could not afford to provoke. But they did not expect that this old man had the bloodline of the Xia family. This made them feel like they were going crazy. So, what if he was from the Xia family? This was a fair battle. Yu Tianchen attacked with all his might. The Yu family leader roared, crazily. Yu Tianchen heard and said, I know. Family leader, trust me, I will not lose. He rushed over again. All kinds of great Tao starlight danced. He had unleashed his strongest attack. Clang! The moon in the sky suddenly fell and formed a long sword, falling in front of Yu Tianchen. The killing intent in Yu Tianchen's eyes was extremely strong. He had split the heavenly lightning apart. Xia Zhuyo's expression was cold as he performed the 9 nether song. He used his 9 underworld's body again. He attacked quickly. He punched out, and the black fist seemed to open up the gates of hell, descending from the sky. It shattered all the sword chi in the sky. The moonlight immortal sword was also swaying nonstop. It was as if it was unable to withstand the attacks at all. In the end, the moon sword was shattered by the black fist. Yuetian City was also punched through. He was half kneeling in the void. He was going crazy. What kind of physique was this? Why was he so powerful? 4 sacred beast totems attack. The 4 animals beside him suddenly roared angrily and rushed over. However, Xia Zhuyo suppressed the 4 saint beast totems with a single palm strike. His physique was really too strong. It was so powerful that the 4 saint beast totems prostrated themselves on the ground. Impossible. Yu Tianchen's body started to tremble. The leader of the Yu family also roared, Why is your bloodline so terrifying? He had met the people from the Xia family before, and he also knew some of the Xia family's experts. However, he had never seen anyone with such a terrifying bloodline. It was even more terrifying than some of the emperor bloodlines of the Xia clan. Who exactly was this person? The leader of the Nanling family said, I heard that the Xia family has a super powerful physique called the 9 underworld physique. However, it had not appeared for tens of thousands of years. Could this person have the 9 underworld physique? What? Was it the legendary physique? Damn it. How could this be? Tianchen's luck was too bad. The great emperors of the Yu family looked terrible. Xia Zhuyo was old and experienced. The 9 underworld physique was extremely terrifying. The right time, the right place, and the right people were all on the other side. Could it be that this time Tianchen was going to fail? If he failed this time, he would suffer a terrible fate. It would be a huge blow to Yuetian City. It was very likely that he would never be able to become a great emperor again. Did he still want to fight? Xia Zhuyo became more and more courageous as he fought. The power in his body kept exploding, and the lightning around him was split open by him. He seemed to have turned into the 9 underworld god. He was extremely powerful. On the other hand, Yuetian City's aura was extremely weak. His confidence had collapsed. But I don't believe it. Even if I fail, I won't let you succeed. At this point, he roared. A moon formed between his eyebrows. The bloodline in his body quickly condensed into the moon. It turned into a moon saber. On the other hand, the moon saber was completely condensed from the bloodline. In an instant, it cut through the sky. It carried an incomparable, murderous intent and soared into the sky. Go to hell. Not good. Hurry up and attack. The Yu family's patriarch roared crazily. The power of the bloodline had been used up. Was Yuetian City prepared to die? He was too young. Couldn't he bear such a small setback? At worst, he could start all over again. They rushed over, wanting to stop him, but it was too late. The lightning in the sky scared them so much that they kept retreating. The great emperor's faces were extremely ugly. Was the worst-case scenario to perish together? Not good. Xia Zhuyo was also in danger. Lin Xian frowned and shook his head slightly. I can't do anything. You can only rely on yourself. He chose to believe in Xia Zhuyo. The bloodline sword shrouded Xia Zhuyo. Xia Juyo's body shook violently. Cracks appeared on his body. "Go to hell!" A ferocious voice sounded. Xia Juyo roared angrily. 9 Underworld's gate, open for me. Xia Juyo roared angrily. He exerted his physique to the extreme. Behind him, 9 black doors appeared and slowly opened. A gloomy aura that could cover the sky, and the earth emerged from within. It was as if 9 colossal monsters had awoken. That terrifying attack and defense caused everyone to retreat. Even the great emperors felt their hair stand on end at this moment. Heavens! Is this the legendary 9 Underworld's body? It's too scary. What did he open? Why do I feel that the power of the entire 9 Underworlds has been mobilized by him? Countless cries of alarm sounded. The power that rushed out of the 9 black doors circled in front of Xia Juyo, forming a huge shield. It blocked the bloodline sword. Not only that, the endless power gathered again and formed a war halberd. The 9 Underworld's war halberd was swung fiercely. The sound of metal clashing resounded. The bloodline sword was instantly shattered. Everyone was stunned. The 9 Underworld's war halberd pierced through the sky and tore Yuetian City's body apart. He won. Lin Xian smiled when he saw this scene. Xia Juyo had won this battle. He had completely suppressed Yuetian City. On the other hand, the people of the Yuetian clan went crazy. Yuetian City's broken body fell from the sky. Yuetian City was badly damaged. The others were even more shocked. Was the victor decided? They had thought that this battle would last for a long time. After all, the 2 Dao conformations were on par with each other. It was very likely that this fierce battle would last for several years, or even decades. Such a thing had happened before. There had been a battle between 2 great emperors of similar strength. It had lasted for hundreds of years, but who would have thought that the victor would be decided so quickly? The gap between the 2 was ridiculously huge. "Tianchen, how are you?" The Yuetian clan's clan leader caught the broken body. He could feel that Yuetian City's aura was extremely weak. Even if he recovered, he would probably be half-crippled. Damn it. He suddenly raised his head. Killing intent burst out from his eyes. "I won't forgive you." Chapter 6041. Everyone's scalp went numb when they heard the resentful voice. Was the Yu family going crazy this time? If the 4 great emperors attacked him together, even if he became a great emperor, what could he do? Lin Xian sneered. He was not worried at all. In the sky, 2 dark clouds merged and formed a violent thunder of the way of the heavens. No one dared to attack him in the thunder, so he was absolutely safe. However, the 4 great emperors of the Yu family fixed their eyes on Lin Xian. He said, "Boy, I'll kill you first, then I'll kill that old thing. I'll kill all of you. Irrelevant people, get out of my way." The 4 great emperors landed and surrounded Lin Xian. Who dares to attack him? Xueqi came to Lin Xian's side and shouted coldly, "So, what if there's one more? We have absolute power." The surrounding people were talking among themselves. "This boy is dead for sure. Yes, these 2 top geniuses are probably going to die here. There's no other way. That old man can't save them." Countless voices of justice could be heard. Lin Xian looked up to the sky and laughed. "Ha ha ha, you want to attack me?" Qi refused her yin and yang. Xueqi nodded. In the next moment, the 2 of them used their super strong physiques and punched out with the 9 yin and 9 yang. The clan leader retreated quickly. The old demon of the Yu family behind him roared angrily. He wanted to warn the clan leader, but it was too late. After the fusion of the 9 yin and 9 yang, they were extremely terrifying. They sent the clan leader of the Yu family flying with one punch. When everyone saw this scene, their eyes were wide open, and they were incomparably shocked. They saw a huge bloody hole appear in the sky. Standing in the void, the terrifying blood of the moon dyed the 9 heavens. Following this, a rain of blood fell from the sky. Countless people were terrified. Is the clan leader of the Yu family injured? These 2 young people can injure a great emperor. Who are they? In the broken mountain in the distance, the clan leader of the Yu family stood up. His immortal chi kept spreading out, and his armor shone with cold light. However, a corner of the armor was already broken. Not only that, one of his shoulders was dripping with blood. The wound had split open, and many of the bones inside had been shattered. He was actually injured by a single punch. Unforgivable. I want you to die. The killing intent in his eyes turned into a shocking sword light that tore the void apart. When the great emperor raged, countless people prostrated themselves on the ground. Quickly retreat. The Yu family has gone crazy. The following great battle will definitely be at the level of Armageddon. He didn't know what was good for him. Lin Xian sneered. The 9 in 9 yang 9 yang 9 in 9 yang 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 a diagram surrounded by the power of yin and yang. It was as if a diagram of the Xiantian realm had appeared, and it pressed down fiercely. With a loud boom, the clan leader of the Yu clan was sent flying again. Heavens, this was an absolute suppression. If one were to say that the Yu clan's clan leader had been careless before, then the Yu clan's clan leader had been careless. However, this time around, there was simply no way to use carelessness as an explanation. It could only be said that the strength of these 2 youths had already surpassed that of a great emperor. Clan leader, don't act blindly without thinking. Both of them have divine bodies. They are the 9 yin divine body and the 9 yang divine body, which are not weaker than the 9 netherworld divine body. The voice of the old demon of the Yu family was heard. Countless people were in an uproar. What? Another divine body. A super strong physique under the starry sky, a super bloodline that was rarely seen in 10,000 years in all the worlds in the universe. Today, 3 of them appeared at the same time. It was too unbelievable. What kind of day was this? They were actually lucky enough to meet 3 divine bodies in their lives. 2 of them were the 9 yin divine body and the 9 yang divine body. Impossible? The great emperor of the south roared crazily. It was normal for the 9 yin divine body to appear. However, he had the 9 yang divine body. How could he appear in the 9 netherworld? The 9 netherworld had been closed for more than 1,000,000 years. How did he cultivate to the great success stage? Everyone was going crazy. Until now, they still didn't know that Lin Xian came in from the outside, because in their opinion, the 9 netherworld was closed, and people from the outside couldn't enter at all. You are not stupid. At least you have some knowledge. Since, with our physiques, you should know that you are no match for him at all if you join forces. Hurry up and get lost. Otherwise, I will destroy you. Damn it. The leader of the Yu family was so angry that he vomited blood. He said, I am no match for him alone. But what if the 4 of us join forces? I don't believe that you can fight against 4 great emperors. The leader of the Yu family walked up. His broken body quickly merged. Then it was perfect as before. The other 3 great emperors also cooperated and went up together. A great battle was about to break out. At this moment, Lin Xian snorted. He slashed out with his sword, and the power of the great dragon sword soul burst out. In the sky, a giant dragon appeared. The terrifying power condensed, and it was invincible. The extreme weapons in the surroundings began to sway. What kind of power was this? The people of the Yu family were stunned. The other 2 families were also trembling in fear. They felt a chill down their spines. The great emperor of the South Spirit looked up at the sky. Then he said, "Why does it look so similar to the portrait hanging in our family?" The Mysticine Great Emperor also gasped, "It is the legendary Great Dragon Sword." Heavens, am I blind? The Great Dragon Sword actually appeared here. Their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. At this moment, countless people were stunned. Some of the younger people were originally here to watch the Tao proving battle. They were puzzled. What was the Great Dragon Sword? They couldn't help it. These people were very young. They didn't know about the battle a million years ago. However, these great emperors knew. Although they might not have been born a million years ago and hadn't become great emperors. However, once they became martial monarchs, they would have a better understanding of the ancient war. They knew that, in that battle, there were some extremely terrifying existences that they couldn't provoke. After seeing them, they had to immediately kneel down. One of them was the Great Dragon Sword. In the Nanling family, there was even a portrait drawn by the first generation of the family. That was the portrait of the Great Dragon Sword. In the portrait, the earth below was shattered. Above the great emperor, the sky cracked, and a dragon star divine sword pierced through the 9 heavens. Countless great emperors prostrated themselves in worship. Now, the sword shadow in the sky was very similar to the portrait left behind by the first generation of the family. Therefore, the Nanling Great Emperor instantly walked out. Junior Nanling greets Senior Great Dragon Sword. Junior Shen Yin greets Senior Great Dragon Sword. The 2 great emperors lowered their heads. Everyone was stunned. At this moment, even those young people didn't know what the Great Dragon Sword was. However, when they saw the great emperors bow so respectfully, they were dumbfounded. Who could make the great emperors bow their heads? The answer was no. But now, there was a sword that made the great emperors bow their noble heads. The Great Dragon Sword spirit returned to Lin Xian's hand. Lin Xian held the sword like a sword god. He said, "I am the successor of the Great Dragon Sword. Do you still dare to fight with me?" The successor of the Great Dragon Sword. Not only did he have a super strong starry sky physique, but he was also the successor of the Great Dragon Sword. No wonder he was so strong. He didn't become a great emperor, but he had the battle strength of a great emperor. He even surpassed ordinary great emperors. The legend of the Great Dragon Sword was indeed worthy of its reputation. If he became a great emperor, he could easily kill us. At this moment, the great emperors of the 2 families were terrified. The people of the Yu family had extremely ugly expressions. Chapter 6042. The faces of the Yu family members became extremely ugly. The 4 great emperors' bodies trembled a little. They felt a chill on their backs. Millions of years ago, their Yu family didn't have it. However, they had also heard of what happened back then. The prestige of the Great Dragon Sword had long been deeply rooted in their hearts. Even if they were great emperors, they were now facing a great enemy. Should they bow down? Old Demon Yu and the others all looked at the family. The family leader's face was cold. He was high and mighty. He had become a great emperor 100,000 years ago. In these 100,000 years, he would no longer bow his head. So what if he was the successor of the Great Dragon Sword? He hadn't become a great emperor yet. He couldn't use the full power of the Great Dragon Sword. This was a good opportunity. If we join forces to kill him, our Yu family will have the Great Dragon Sword. At that time, the entire 9 serenities will be ruled by our Yu family. Hearing this, the Southern Spirit Great Emperor and the others all gasped. Was the Yu family crazy? Old Demon Yu and the others also took a deep breath. This was too crazy. But thinking about it, it was really possible. Taking advantage of the fact that the other party hadn't become a great emperor, yet this was a great opportunity. Okay, let's do it. The Moon Thunder Great Emperor nodded in agreement. I have no objection. The Moonlight Great Emperor also gritted his teeth. Wealth came from danger. This was their only chance. Extremely terrifying light burst out of the four great emperors. They took out their extreme weapons. The Yu family leader even said, "Burn your immortal energy. We only have one chance to attack. We can't fail." The immortal energy of the four burst out. Endless great emperor energy surged in all directions. Everyone went crazy at this moment. Lin Xian also frowned tightly. Were they going to fight to the death? He snorted coldly and prepared to use the power in the sword world to fully recover the great dragon sword soul. At the same time, he prepared to use the 6 paths of reincarnation to summon the palm in the Sun Valley. He would let the other party know what regret was. The battle was about to break out in an instant. However, at this moment, there was a change. In the distance, an extremely cold light streaked over. At the same time, there was an extremely terrifying aura of death. Feeling this aura, the surrounding great emperors all trembled in fear. Below, the endless forest and mountains were all shattered. Some of the spectators were also instantly reduced to ashes. Not good. Run quickly. What kind of aura was that? This was the aura of death. It was too terrifying. Who was it? The 4 great emperors of the Yu clan also felt a chill down their spines, as if they were facing a great enemy. In the next instant, they saw a giant white-boned snake circling in the sky. Standing on top of the snake's head was a figure. It was a zombie-like figure. 2 godly flames were flickering in his eyes. He was a martial emperor. Furthermore, he was a martial emperor who had managed to cultivate 2 divine flames. His strength had completely surpassed theirs. This was an expert. Everyone acted as if they were facing a great enemy. The leader of the Yu family also said, "Greetings, senior. How should I address you? What can we do for you?" Although they were incomparably arrogant, they did not dare to act impudently before the zombie-like figures. The people from the Nanling clan and Xianin clan were also extremely respectful. However, the zombie-like figure did not pay any attention to them at all. His eyes were fixed on Lin Xian. He said, "Kid, I've finally found you. Come with me. I need your help." Everyone was stunned. This martial emperor with 2 divine flames actually knew Lin Xian, and it seemed that they were very familiar with each other. Especially the last sentence, "I need your help." Heavens, even a powerhouse with 2 divine flames needed his help? Countless people were shocked. The leader of the Yu family's face changed drastically. Their hearts thumped. Not good. They had a bad feeling about this. Sure enough, Lin Xian said, "I can't go with you because they plan to kill me." Who was so reckless? The zombie-like figure was none other than the zombie emperor that Lin Xian had rescued. After hearing this, he was immediately furious. Who was so reckless? Who dared to attack my savior? What? My savior? The great emperors on the opposite side were even more crazy. This is impossible. The people of the Yu family also roared. How could a powerhouse with 2 divine flames need someone else's help? It's you, right? The zombie emperor turned his head and stared at the leader of the Yu family. In the next moment, he attacked aggressively. The death chi on his body kept condensing, as if he had turned into the god of death. No, the leader of the Yu family roared. The 4 great emperors resisted together, but they were still sent flying in an instant. The sky fell, and the earth cracked. The 4 of them vomited blood, and cracks appeared on their bodies. "You want to fight me? You don't know what's good for you." The zombie emperor reached out his hand again. The zombie-like hand aimed at the leader of the Yu family and grabbed forward fiercely. Not good. The leader of the Yu family's face changed drastically. The previous attack had already injured them. Facing the second attack, he had no time to resist at all. He could only mobilize all his strength and waved his extreme weapon fiercely. However, the gap between the 2 sides was really too big. In an instant, the leader of the Yu family was enveloped by this hand. All the bones in his body were broken, and he let out a miserable cry. "Senior, please spare my life." He quickly begged for mercy. The other three great emperors also looked anxious. They looked at Lin Xian and said, "Young master, we were wrong. Please spare our lives. We are willing to pay any price." "Kid, what do you think we should do?" The zombie emperor looked at Lin Xian. Everyone's eyes also looked at Lin Xian. As long as Lin Xian gave the order, this great emperor would probably be destroyed in body and soul. The leader of the Yu family also said, "Young master, I was wrong. I was really wrong. Please spare my life." "It's not impossible to spare your lives." Hearing this, the leader of the Yu family breathed a sigh of relief. But in the next moment, his pupils shrank sharply, because Lin Xian said, "I need you four great emperors to let me see your immortal qi origin." What? The great emperors of the Yu family went crazy. The immortal qi origin was their most fundamental secret. How could they give it out so easily? "If you don't want to, then I have no choice. I can only let you go to hell. Your Yu family has been passed down for hundreds of thousands of years. You don't want it to be destroyed, right?" It was a threat, and a very direct threat. However, who told him to be so powerful, knowing an elite with two divine flames? The leader of the Yu family had no choice but to say, "Okay, we are willing to take out the immortal artifact origin." "Very good." Lin Xian raised the corner of his mouth. He looked at the zombie emperor and said, "Senior, please protect me. I want to see the immortal qi origin of the four of them immediately." "No problem." The zombie emperor waved his hand and threw the leader of the Yu family aside. He said, "In front of me, they don't dare to behave atrociously." The four great emperors of the Yu family had no choice but to come in front of Lin Xian. The immortal qi on their bodies appeared and hovered in the air. This immortal qi was extremely mysterious. It was their most fundamental power. It was formed after they experienced the heavenly Tao Thunder Tribulation. Every strand of immortal qi contained a different amount of power. This was their greatest secret, but now they wanted others to see it carefully. The Moonlight Great Emperor snorted coldly in his heart, "You are so young, and not even a great emperor. Can you understand it?" These great emperors all had the same thought in their hearts. Lin Xian's eyes bloomed with an extremely cold light. The immortal qi seed in his left eye jumped, and the Rinnegan in his right eye bloomed. This was an excellent opportunity for him. Chapter 6043. Lin Xian had the seed of divine fire and the seed of immortal qi. His cultivation of the seed of divine fire was going smoothly. Moreover, he felt that in his current state, it would be no problem for him to become a great emperor with the seed of divine fire. However, it would be difficult for him to cultivate the seed of immortal qi. Therefore, Lin Xian focused on cultivating the seed of immortal qi. Previously, Lin Xian had obtained a few fragments of immortal qi. Now he had the opportunity to see the immortal qi of the four great emperors. This was an extremely precious opportunity for him. He used the eye of Rinnegan to the extreme and enveloped the four streams of immortal qi. This eye is so mysterious, and it has such terrifying power. The four great emperors were surprised. They originally thought that Lin Xian wouldn't be able to understand it. However, they didn't expect Lin Xian to have such a mysterious eye. Perhaps the other party was truly able to see their source. So that's how it is. It's so magical. Lin Xian was surprised. Although the immortal qi looked simple, it was extremely complicated. However, the inside was complicated to the extreme. It was much more mysterious than the previous great Daos. For a moment, Lin Xian stood there in a daze, as if he were staring blankly. The corpse emperor narrowed his eyes and thought, "When will this end?" Xueqi said, "Senior, It's no use being anxious. The one who has attained Tao is our friend. We have to wait until he has attained Tao and is no longer in danger. Only then will our husband leave with you." Hearing this, the corpse emperor was also stunned. In the next moment, he looked forward and narrowed his eyes. "Oh, is that the person from the Xia family? He has the 9 underworld's body." At this moment, Xia Zhiyo's physique was fully displayed. The powerful 9 underworld's energy surrounded him. It formed all kinds of laws to resist the thunder of heavenly Tao. Fortunately, Lin Xian had told him that Xia Zhiyo and the Xia family were not on good terms. Otherwise, the corpse emperor would have already made a move to eliminate the other party. Once this 9 underworld's body attained Tao and became a great emperor, his strength would be extremely powerful. He would be far stronger than ordinary great emperors. More importantly, 10 Crown King had corroborated his Tao. His future prospects were limitless. However, with Lin Xian's reminder, the corpse emperor knew that this person would be a huge headache for the Xia family. The great emperor proved his Tao and resisted the lightning of the heavenly Tao. This process would not be short. It could be as little as a few months or as long as a few years. As such, Lin Xian had plenty of time to comprehend the 4 streams of immortal qi. The 4 great emperors of the Yu clan stood there, not daring to move. This feeling was extremely sullen. Needless to say, they would become the laughingstock of the 9 underworlds. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. The heavenly Tao lightning continued, and Xia Zhiyo was still resisting it. Lin Xian was also meditating. Another year passed. 2 years had passed. The spectators from afar had all left. More people had to arrive. They were only waiting for the final result. Most likely, the person in front of him was not in any danger. After all, none of the emperors around him dared to make a move. However, they did not know how strong he would become after corroborating his Tao. 3 months later, Xia Zhiyo roared. Boundless energy from the 9 heavens and 10 earths gathered on his body. Then it turned into a ball of black flame that surrounded him. The information on Xia Zhangyo's body continued to rise, reaching a new height. This was the aura of a great emperor. The terrifying aura of a great emperor spread out from his body and swept out in all directions. He was the ruler of the world. He had succeeded. Xueqi was overjoyed to see this. The 9 underworld's soul also exclaimed, "He really did it." "Grandpa," Xia Xingchen exclaimed. Bu Tian and the others also heaved a sigh of relief. 2 years and 3 months had not been easy. Was this the power of a great emperor? Was this the true divine fire? Xia Zhiyo clenched his fists. He was so excited that he trembled. After waiting for so many years, he had finally broken through and become a great emperor. He punched and kicked in the sky. Each of his attacks contained the power of the divine fire. The great emperors below were dumbfounded. The southern spirit great emperor and the mystic Yin great emperor exclaimed, "How was this possible? He had just attained his Tao. Why did they feel that his strength had surpassed theirs?" This was the power of the 10 Crown King. It was too terrifying after attaining his Tao. The people of the Yu family were also trembling in despair. Yu Qiancheng had recuperated in the past 2 years. However, his strength had not recovered to its peak. He was only a great emperor. At this moment, when he sensed the scene, he coughed out a mouthful of old blood. He was so angry that he fainted again. There was nothing he could do. Under normal circumstances, he should be the one to show his prowess and sweep through the world. But now, he could only be a spectator. What was worse was that he had damaged the foundation of his bloodline when he fought with his life. He probably had no hope of becoming a great emperor in this lifetime. There was no hope. To a martial artist, this was despair. Xia Zhiyo descended from the sky. He put away the nomological laws and divine fire that filled the sky and came to Lin Xian's side. He was stunned. Lin Gongzi? He saw that Lin Xian seemed to be in the midst of an epiphany. Xue Qi gave him a simple explanation. Xia Jiu also frowned. Did Lin Gongzi really want to walk that path? He knew that Lin Xian wanted to walk the divine path, an immortal path together. When the time came, it would be 10 times harder for Lin Xian to become a great emperor. He wondered if Lin Xian could succeed. After another 3 months, Lin Xian closed his eyes. A few days later, he exhaled. He said, "It's about time. Old Xia, you've become a great emperor? What a powerful aura." Lin Xian saw Xia Jiu beside him and exclaimed. He could clearly feel that Xia Jiu's aura was too powerful. It was more terrifying than the other great emperors around him. As expected of the 14-crown king, no wonder countless people were afraid of the 10-crown king. Once the 10-crown king broke through and became a great emperor, he would be able to catch up with others. "Young master, can you let us go now?" The Yu family head asked softly. Now, he didn't dare to fight against him at all. Not to mention the corpse emperor, with 2 divine fires. Even Lin Xueqi and Xia Jiu were enough to sweep them away. Lin Xian looked at the 4 great emperors of the Yu family. He smiled. "Your immortal qi is of great help to me, so I can let you go." This time, after 2.5 years of watching, Lin Xian felt deeply. So this was what immortal qi was like. It seemed that, in the future, his path of cultivating immortal qi would be much smoother. "Thank you, young master." "Thank you, senior." The great emperors of the Yu family quickly bowed and left as if they were escaping. This time, they were really screwed. "Let's go somewhere else to talk." Lin Xian and the others rose into the air and left with the corpse emperor. When they reached a quiet mountain range, Lin Xian asked Senior, "Why are you back? What do you need my help with?" "It's about the Xia family." Speaking of this, the corpse emperor snorted, "It's been going well. But later, I found out that the Xia family didn't do anything to me. They didn't show up because they found a good place. Now, many of the Xia family's experts are deciphering that place. It's said that place is of great help to a great emperor's strength. So, I want you to help me go to that place. Let me recover to my peak. I might even be able to improve further." Chapter 6044. Since the last great battle, the 9 serenities had been closed for more than 1,000,000 years. In these millions of years, it had no contact with the outside world. The 9 serenities contained countless cold auras. In these millions of years, many magical places were formed. Among them, there was a place called the Bone Burial Ground. This place was an ancient battlefield where the great battle took place more than 1,000,000 years ago. In the past, countless experts had fallen here. Later, after 1,000,000 years, this place had become a forest. In the forest, there were dark trees. From time to time, the bones of some experts could be dug out from the ground. There were also some broken rings of holding all kinds of cracked weapons and treasures of heaven and earth. There were many demonic beasts in this bone burial ground. Moreover, it was also a place that many cultivators liked to come, because here one might be lucky enough to pick up a treasure. Of course, all of this was talking about the bone burial ground. Outside, very few people could go in, because those who went in had a slim chance of survival. Inside the bone burial ground was a forbidden land of death. At this moment, there was a group of people heading towards the bone burial ground. These people were Lin Xian and the others. Lin Xian followed the corpse emperor here. Along the way, the corpse emperor also told them some things, allowing them to understand that there was an extraordinary place in the burial grounds. It contained a mysterious power that could allow the great emperor to break through again. However, that place was very dangerous. The corpse emperor couldn't go in alone. He thought of Lin Xian. Lin Xian was the successor of the great dragon sword and had invincible power. Perhaps with the power of the great dragon sword, he could enter that place. Everyone, be careful. There were many demonic beasts here, but there was nothing to be afraid of. However, there was one demonic beast that must not be offended. It was extremely terrifying. What demonic beast? Lin Xian was surprised. It could actually make the great emperor with 2 divine fires so afraid. It was the torch dragon. After hearing this, everyone was also surprised. Dragons were originally bloodlines and extremely terrifying existences. The torch dragon was a dragon that liked to live in dark places. Moreover, this torch dragon had also cultivated 2 strands of immortal qi. It could be said that he was extremely powerful. In this place, the other party was the king, high and mighty. Even the corpse emperor was unwilling to offend the other party. However, there was no need for everyone to be too worried. Zhulong would usually go into deep slumber to cultivate under normal circumstances. As long as it wasn't a particularly earth-shattering battle, it shouldn't be alarmed. As they spoke, they suppressed their auras. Some of the demonic beasts they encountered along the way were instantly killed by them. The lineup of these people was extremely terrifying. There were 4 great emperors, and one of them had 2 divine flames. Thus, no one had been able to stand in his way. Finally, they entered the depths of the land of bones. The corpse emperor heaved a sigh of relief and said, "We are lucky that we didn't meet Torch Dragon this time." They continued walking forward. And before long, they came to a halt. They discovered that there was a figure lying before them. The blood even converged into a sea of blood, which emitted a rumbling sound. It turned out to be a demonic beast. Its body was huge, more than 500 meters long. Its body was covered with extremely frightening black scales, giving it a sinister appearance. From the looks of it, it should be a rhinoceros. Moreover, it was a rhinoceros that had reached the quasi-emperor level. Such an existence had boundless strength, but now it was split in half by someone's saber. It seemed to have been killed in one move. What a terrifying saber technique. Is someone already here? Xue Qi glanced at it and said with a frown. The corpse emperor also frowned. It seems to be someone from the Xia family. I also followed the Xia family and found this place. Hearing this, Xia Juya walked over and carefully sensed it. He said, "From this saber technique, I can indeed feel a trace of bloodline aura. It should be someone from the Xia family, and it should be someone at the great emperor level. Let's go. Let's speed up." Next, the group of people moved forward quickly. But before long, they encountered another demonic beast. It was also at the quasi-emperor level, and it was split in half by someone's saber. In a short time, they encountered another 3 demonic beasts. It seemed that the person who came was in front of them. "Everyone, be careful," Lin Xian reminded them. After all, the Xia family was an existence that was even more terrifying than the Yu family. This was a family that had existed for more than 1,000,000 years. Its strength and foundation were ridiculously strong. The group sped up again. Finally, they arrived at a deeper place. There was a lake here. The lake was the largest. It was as big as an ancient city. The surface of the lake was calm, without any ripples. It was like a sapphire embedded in the earth. I can feel an unusual aura. When Xue Qi looked at the lake, she frowned deeply. The corpse emperor said, "You're right. The treasure I mentioned is in this lake. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go quickly. Let's seize the treasure and leave quickly." The 9 nether souls said. The corpse emperor glanced at him and said, "Little ant, you're too naive." As he spoke, the corpse emperor waved his hand and caught a demonic beast from afar. This demonic beast was also at the quasi-emperor level. At this moment, it was trembling in fear. The corpse emperor threw this demonic beast into the lake. With a splash, the beast dived into the lake and sank to the bottom in an instant. Lin Xian and the others all arrived near the lake and looked down. Then, they all sucked in a mouthful of cold air. Although a quasi-emperor level demonic beast was not as strong as them, it was still extremely powerful and terrifying. Logically speaking, not to mention falling into a lake. Even if it fell into the abyss of the universe, it should be able to crawl out. However, after this demonic beast fell into the lake, it did not resist at all. It was as if the laws on its body were instantly extinguished. Then, this demonic beast sank to the bottom of the lake and disappeared. It was so terrifying. The 9 nether soul trembled in fear. If he had jumped into the lake just now, he would have probably died. What a strange lake. Xueqi waved her hand, and the 9 mysterious ice appeared. She wanted to freeze the lake. However, when her ice power entered the lake, it was like a stone sinking into the sea. There was no reaction at all. This was impossible, right? Xueqi was completely stunned. She possessed the 9 body. How powerful and terrifying was she? There was nothing that she could not freeze. Unexpectedly, this lake did not form any ice. Not only that, Xiaojie also tried. He struck out with his palm, and the terrifying palm entered the lake. However, as soon as he entered the lake, he felt that his laws had instantly disappeared. It was so strange. Xiaojie was also shocked. He sucked in a mouthful of cold air. Although he had just become a great emperor, he was a great emperor who had become a 10-crown king. His strength was very powerful. However, now it made her hair stand on end. The corpse emperor said, "You all have seen it. This lake is very strange. Even if a great emperor-level power enters it, it will not be of any use. So, as of now, there is nothing I can do." The Xia family was also helpless. "Boy, you have the power of the great dragon sword. It is invincible. Give it a try. Can your sword energy enter the lake?" Hearing this, Xueqi and the others also looked at Lin Xian. Chapter 6045. Lin Xian took a deep breath, raised his hand, and struck out a dragon-shaped sword energy. It flew into the lake. This time, there were finally ripples. Great, it was indeed useful. As expected of the great dragon sword soul, the corpse emperor and the others were delighted. However, Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. The reason for that was because he sensed that the dragon-shaped sword aura had flown into the lake. He felt an extremely mysterious force suppressing it. It was as if it had entered a quagmire and could no longer move. Lin Xian snorted coldly and continued to push more power into the lake. The sword energy seemed to have turned into a divine dragon, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws as it continued to attack. However, after traveling for a while, it completely disappeared. Lin Xian stood up, frowning. "Husband, how is it?" Xueqi asked. The corpse emperor also said, "Boy, can you do it? We'll give you all our power and activate the great dragon sword soul." Lin Xian shook his head. "I'm afraid not. I tried it just now, but this lake is bottomless. Even if we attack together, I'm afraid we can only split open a part of the space. We can't go any further. We have to find out what's strange about this lake." To be honest, Lin Xian was very surprised. The great dragon sword soul was invincible and successful. It was rare to meet a force that could restrain it. But now, there was someone in this lake who could suppress the power of the great dragon sword soul. Of course, Lin Xian felt that he was still not strong enough. After all, the great dragon sword soul at its peak back then shocked the entire 9th underworld. Even so, it was still very shocking. At least for the great emperor level, this lake had an absolute suppression. "Big brother, the terrain here is so strange." At this moment, Bu Tian spoke. Lin Xian was stunned. The corpse emperor also said, "You're just a little kid. What do you know?" In the corpse emperor's eyes, Bu Tian's cultivation was very high. However, he was like a small ant. However, Lin Xian said, "Senior, Don't underestimate him. He's the grandson of the Heavenly Master. Perhaps he knew something about it. Oh, Heavenly Master? The corpse emperor stared blankly for a moment before his eyes lit up. Even the way he looked at Butian had changed. The Heavenly Master knew how to make use of the transcendent power of the world. His strength was extremely terrifying and mysterious. However, as far as I know, no Heavenly Master has appeared in the ninth serenity for tens of thousands of years. Which celestial master's descendant was he? Lin Xian shook his head. We don't know either. He briefly recounted what had happened. That Heavenly Master seemed to be mentally unstable. Furthermore, something had drilled into his body and taken control of him. The corpse emperor sighed. Heavenly Masters are very scary. Few people can resist them at the same level. In fact, he could even fight against many powerhouses of the same level by himself. However, there is a price to pay. It was said that in the later years of the Heavenly Master's life, red hair would grow on his body. He turned into a monster that was neither human nor ghost. Who would have thought that the legend was true? As for who was the mastermind behind this, the corpse emperor didn't know either. Perhaps no one else knew. Little guy, look at this place. What's different about it? The corpse emperor looked at Butian. Lin Xian also said, Don't be nervous. Tell us as much as you know. No one will blame you if you're wrong. Butian nodded, and his little face relaxed a little. Then he began to walk around the lake. Xia Xingchen was curious as well. She followed beside him. Hey, what did you find? Tell me. After circling the entire lake, Butian stopped. He took a deep breath and said, Big brother, there is an array in this lake, and it's an extremely terrifying array. Array? Lin Xian was surprised. The others were also shocked. They were all great emperors. However, they didn't find the existence of the array. From this, one could imagine how terrifying that spirit formation was. The corpse emperor asked, Is there really an array? Ben Huang didn't find it either. Lin Xian opened his Rinnegan, but he was also at his wit's end. Wasn't this formation a little too sinister? Butian said, I have also cultivated the tomes of arcane. When I was young, my grandfather once told me that some arrays are formed naturally and are very terrifying. For some powerful formation masters, they would be able to make slight changes to these naturally formed formations to make them even more frightening and mysterious. There is indeed an array here, but I can't tell if it's natural or modified by someone. If my grandfather was here, he would definitely know. Speaking of this, Butian's expression became a little gloomy. He didn't know how his grandfather was. Lin Xian patted him on the shoulder and said, Don't worry, your grandfather will be fine. Moreover, you are already very outstanding. So many great emperors didn't find the array, but you can find it at a glance. You will definitely be a great Taoist master in the future. Is that true? Butian raised his head, and his eyes were filled with excitement. Xia Jiu next to him said, If it's a natural array, it can only be said that this lake is the creation of heaven and earth. It was extremely mysterious. However, if it was a spirit formation that had been modified by someone, then that person would be too terrifying. It was very likely that it was done by a Taoist master. What on earth was here? There was an array more powerful than the great emperors. What secret was hidden in this lake? Everyone had doubts in their hearts. Knowing that it was an array, they began to surround the lake and began to study it. Were there any clues? Lin Xian also used his Rinnegan with all his strength. One of his eyes bloomed with light, enveloping the entire lake. At first, there was nothing. However, after looking at it for a while, he clearly felt that his soul shook, as if it was being sucked away by something. This gave him a fright. What was going on? In the next moment, he felt that he seemed to have sunk into the lake, and the surrounding light instantly darkened. What the hell? Even though Lin Xian had the battle strength of a great emperor and had experienced hundreds of battles, he was still shocked. But at this moment, his hair stood on end. One must know that this lake could extinguish all the power of a great emperor. Even the great dragon sword, Soul couldn't use its full strength here. However, Lin Xian found that his soul could swim in it. What's going on? It shouldn't be. Even the sword energy of the law disappeared inside. He couldn't resist at all. However, his soul could swim in it. It was too incredible. Could it be because of the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation? Husband, what's wrong with you? Husband. At this moment, Xue Qi began to shake. Lin Xian's body and an anxious voice sounded. Lin Xian felt that his soul was about to disappear in the lake. In the next moment, he came back to his senses. His body trembled, and he turned his head to look. What's wrong? Husband, what's going on with you just now? Why didn't you respond when I called you? And why was your Rinnegan dim just now? Is it really the Rinnegan? Lin Xian was stunned. Just now, his soul had entered the lake together with his Rinnegan. Could it be that the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation could break this array? Lin Xian was too surprised. However, he was still not sure. He said, I was exploring the lake just now, and I didn't pay attention to anything else. What happened? Xue Qi said, there are sounds of fighting over there. Moreover, it's a battle between great emperors. Do you want to go over and take a look? Chapter 6046. Lin Xian wasn't sure what had happened when his soul entered the lake. Did he really go in? Or was it just an illusion? So he didn't say anything. He asked Xue Qi, what happened? Xue Qi pointed into the distance and said, there's a battle between great emperors. Lin Xian sensed it and then frowned. What a terrifying battle. And there's more than one great emperor. Let's go over and take a look. They hid their auras and quietly merged into the void. Then they flew over. Soon, they saw that there was indeed a battle in front of them. Both sides were great emperors. However, they controlled the laws of immortal qi in their bodies very well. They only covered a small area and didn't expand it. One of the figures in the battle was actually a dragon. The dragon's blue scales were blooming with a cold light. There were 2 strands of immortal qi around the dragon's body. It looked like an immortal dragon from the 9th heaven, which surprised Lin Xian and the others. After the corpse emperor saw it, he said, he is the torch dragon that I mentioned. Those people opposite him should be from the Yu family. They didn't expect to meet the torch dragon. They were unlucky. The torch dragon was facing a group of about a dozen people. The leader was a tall old man who also had 2 strands of immortal qi. Next to him was a middle-aged great emperor with a strand of immortal qi. The figures behind him were all quasi-emperors. At this moment, they were all on high alert. The torch dragon snorted. You Xia family people are really reckless. Why are you here again? Fellow Taoist, you've been here for tens of thousands of years, but you still can't get in. Cooperate with the Xia family. We have a way to get into the lake. If your Earth Immortal can come out, it might be possible. But millions of years ago, your Earth Immortal was seriously injured and is still in a deep sleep. Where does the Xia family get the strength to get in? It's none of your business. You just need to turn a blind eye. When we get in, we'll give you a part of the treasures. What do you think? The torch dragon thought for a while and said, okay, I'll trust the Xia family again. After all, the Xia family's foundation is extraordinary. Maybe these people really have a way. After saying that, the torch dragon's figure flashed, turned into the ground, and disappeared. At the next moment, a thunderous sound was heard. From the looks of it, Zhulong should have entered seclusion and begun cultivating. After some time, when the Xia family came again, he would wake up. Great, this guy is finally leaving. The martial monarchs with 2 wisps of immortal qi grinned. Let's go. He waved his hand. This man was a top expert of the Xia clan named Xia Guangsha. At this moment, he was flying towards the lake with his men. Oh no, they're coming. Let's push them aside. The corpse emperor and the others quickly retreated, still concealing their auras. Xia Guangsha brought his people to the lakeside and landed. Their eyes flickered. Many people were holding blood-colored flags in their hands, and they placed them beside the lake to form a circle. Those blood-colored flags blossomed with a mysterious radiance, and there were laws hanging down. In an instant, the entire lake released a mysterious glow, and the illusion of a formation appeared in the surroundings. There really was a formation. Lin Xian and the others who were hiding in the dark exclaimed after seeing it. They didn't expect the Xia clan to also know about the existence of a formation. It wasn't simple. Grandpa, are they from the Xia clan? Xia Xingchen looked ahead curiously. At this moment, Xia Guangsha, who was in front, frowned. He turned his head and shouted coldly, "Who's there? Get out here." Upon hearing this, the powerhouses of the Xia family all made their moves and collected all the blood-colored flags. Then they took out their swords and sabers, and the laws on their bodies erupted as if they were facing a great enemy. Is that torch dragon back? Humph, it seems that we've been discovered. Let's go out then. Without the torch dragon, the corpse emperor wasn't afraid of the Xia clan. His figure flashed, and he walked out followed by Lin Xian and the others. In the next instant, they appeared in the void. It's you, the guy who won't leave. Do you think you can challenge the Xia clan alone? When Xia Guangsha saw the corpse emperor, he snorted coldly. He also knew this person, who had injured the great emperor of his clan before. He had also killed several experts. He didn't expect the other party to follow him here. Since you've seen the secret of the lake, you can go to hell. And these people behind you, none of them will live. Attack. After saying that, he snorted coldly, and a big hand grabbed at the corpse emperor. At the same time, the experts behind him all moved, and they attacked Lin Xian and the others. The battle was about to break out in an instant. The corpse emperor sneered, and also made a move. The two collided, and the surroundings were shattered. As for the other experts of the Xia family, they let out miserable shrieks. The great emperor of the Xia clan was sent flying, and he vomited blood. How is this possible? Xia Guangsha's expression changed, and he looked at Lin Xian and the others in surprise. You are? Lin Xian smiled, and a powerful aura was released from his body. Great emperor. And there was more than one. Damn it. You found help. He stared at the corpse emperor. That's right. The corpse emperor smiled and said, So, this time, you will definitely lose. He turned to Lin Xian and the others and said, Don't hold back. We can't let them go back. Otherwise, our news will spread to the Xia clan, and then a large number of experts will come. Understood. Lin Xian and the others nodded, and then they rushed over. The great emperor of the Xia clan stared at Xia Jiuyo and said, I'll kill this old man first, kill these two young people. Even if the other party was a great emperor. So what? He was the great emperor of the Xia clan, and his strength was far beyond others. So he rushed over in an instant. An extremely terrifying netherworld aura burst out from his body. The endless great Tao seemed to be able to cut through everything. Xia Jiuyo roared and performed the 9 Serenities song, which turned into a murderous aura and began to bombard. The great emperor at the front was forced to retreat continuously. He roared crazily. Who are you? Who are you? Why do you know the unique skill of the Xia clan? Damn it, 9 Serenities song. The great emperor of the Xia clan also roared and unleashed his ultimate skill, the Song of the 9 Serenities. The song broke through the 9 heavens, and it was extremely terrifying. However, Xia Jiuyo shook his head slightly. Your bloodline is not good enough. A trace of disdain appeared in his eyes, and this made the great emperor vomit blood in anger. My bloodline is not good enough? He was a great emperor. How could his bloodline not be good enough? Die. Along with the endless mysterious voice, he quickly rushed over. Boom, boom, boom. The two collided. Xia Juyo performed his 9 serenities body, and an unparalleled power burst out. Instantly, the great emperor was smashed into pieces. This great emperor was severely injured. He seemed to have discovered something and roared in horror. Your bloodline is actually the Xia clan's bloodline. Who are you? Who are you? Xia Guangsha's expression also changed. He turned his head and stared at Xia Juyo. What a pure bloodline aura. He asked coldly, "What's your relationship with the Xia clan?" Chapter 6047. What does it matter? Humph, you can guess it yourself, Xia Juyo said coldly. Damn it, this guy is too arrogant. Xia Guangsha was so angry that his face turned gloomy. He said to the people behind him, "Use the 9 underworlds formation to attack him." The people behind him moved quickly. With the great emperors taking the lead, some black flags appeared on their bodies and started to flutter nonstop. They formed a super formation. Using the boundless 9 underworlds' power, they charged toward Xia Juyo. "Cheap go and help him," Lin Xian said. He didn't move. Instead, he stared at Xia Guangsha. This was a truly difficult opponent to deal with. He absolutely couldn't let him escape. Xia Juyo's 9 underworlds blade enveloped him. His 9 underworlds body shone brightly again. He swept his attacks in all directions. The formation was shaking nonstop. Xueqi also made her move. Terrifying ice power danced in the air. She also had a super strong body. When the 2 divine bodies attacked together, the opponent's formation couldn't resist at all. It was shaking nonstop. Those people were all sealed in ice. The great emperor in the lead coughed up blood and retreated. A lot of frost appeared on his body. Even worse, his body was pierced through by Xia Juyo's attack. He let out a miserable cry. At the same time, he cried out in alarm, "I know, your bloodline is the 9 underworlds body. You actually have the 9 underworlds body." Just as this voice finished roaring, he was sealed in ice. After Xia Guangsha heard that, he suddenly turned his head and stared at Xia Juyo. "You actually have the 9 underworlds body. Damn it, why didn't I think of that? Those who possessed such a bloodline should be the legendary physique. But why are you here?" Clearly, all of this was beyond Xia Guangsha's expectations. However, he couldn't care less. He had to suppress his opponent first, bring him back to his clan, and slowly interrogate him. Thinking of this, he roared. His black hair fluttered wildly. 2 strands of black, immortal energy flew out of his body and soared into the sky. The entire sky turned into a black ocean. It was as if it was going to suppress heaven and earth. A palm fell from the black sky and struck toward Xia Juyo. Xia Juyo roared. Xueqi also tried her best to block it. However, the 2 of them were still forced back. He didn't die, as expected of the legendary physique. Xia Guangsha was also shocked. Under normal circumstances, with his 2 strands of immortal qi, it would be very easy for him to kill someone with only 1 strand of immortal qi. However, his opponent managed to block it. When he wanted to attack again, the corpse emperor flew over and cut off heaven and earth. He said, "You think I don't exist?" After he finished speaking, a metallic glow appeared on his body. Then, he quickly rushed over and fought with Xia Guangsha. Lin Xian also said, "Get rid of him, don't let him escape." When they rushed over together, the pressure on Xia Guangsha immediately increased. Originally, his strength was about the same as that of the corpse emperor. Now that Lin Xian was added to the mix, the 3 of them instantly put him at a disadvantage. "Damn it, you're all courting death," Xia Guangsha roared. "I'll kill you first." He stared at Lin Xian and threw a punch at him. However, Lin Xian snorted coldly and slashed out with the immortal slaying sword. A terrifying sword light shrouded heaven and earth, resisting the opponent head-on. He was sent flying and spat out a mouthful of blood. However, he quickly rushed over again. How could it be? A mere quasi-emperor didn't die. He was even more shocked. Xia Jiuyo could block it because his opponent had a strand of divine fire and a mysterious physique. However, this kid wasn't a great emperor. How could he block it? Lin Xian said, as expected of a powerhouse with 2 strands of immortal qi. You're really strong. However, it's impossible for you to kill me. After he finished speaking, he rushed over and merged with Xueqi's 9 yin and 9 yang. The 2 of them launched a super powerful attack. Damn it, you also have a divine body. Xia Guangsha went crazy. He found that these 3 people all had super powerful physiques under the starry sky. In addition, there was a great emperor who was not weaker than him. He couldn't fight this battle anymore. Just wait. He turned around and left. You want to leave? Lin Xian and Xueqi flew over and merged with 9 yin and 9 yang to launch an attack. However, they still couldn't stop the other party. The 2 of them were knocked back. After the corpse emperor went up, he wanted to stop them. However, he still couldn't do it. It was very difficult to kill the other party at the same level. It was also very difficult to stop the other party. This was because the immortal qi on Xia Guangsha's body kept erupting and boiling. Obviously, the other party wanted to go all out. Lin Xian transmitted his voice, hit him into the lake. The corpse emperor moved quickly after hearing that. His palms were like divine iron. With a light wave, heaven and earth collapsed. He had turned himself into a divine weapon. He hit Xia Guangsha and forced him to retreat. However, Xia Guangsha roared, "It's useless. I've already seen through your little tricks. I won't fall into the lake." Damn it. The corpse emperor's face was cold. However, at this moment, Lin Xian attacked. He merged with Xueqi and launched 9 yin and 9 yang. They hit the other party. "It's useless. You 2 just wait. After I leave, I'll kill you first." Xia Guangsha gritted his teeth and roared. He was so strong. Xueqi furrowed her brows. However, Lin Xian said, "Don't hold back. Use all your trump cards." After saying that, he waved his hand, and a crown appeared, about to swallow the other party. "Get lost!" Xia Guangsha punched open the black hole. However, at this moment, the Vajra rings flew over and hit him. His body swayed, and he landed on the ground. How is this possible? How can he have so many magical treasures? Before he finished thinking, Xia Jiuyo arrived. 9 Nether Song. He used his super powerful bloodline to affect the other party, causing the other party's soul to be somewhat disturbed. At this moment, Xueqi attacked with the 9 Nether Sword. As the sword slashed down, a black sword shadow appeared. It was as if an ancient god had come back to life. Xia Guangsha was sent flying. Although there were no cracks on his body, his qi and blood were still surging. He was dumbfounded. This sword was the legendary 9 Nether Sword. You even have such a divine weapon. Damn it! Who are you? He wanted to run away. He was a little scared now. However, Lin Xian roared and took out the great dragon sword soul. He slashed with the sword, and a dragon's roar resounded through heaven and earth. An invincible power descended. This time, a wound appeared on Xia Guangsha's body. This made him even more shocked. His strength was far superior to the other parties. Logically speaking, even a great emperor with a strand of immortal energy couldn't injure him. However, the other party was able to injure him. It was unbelievable. He attacked again. Lin Xian and the others attacked again. Xia Guangsha was sent flying. At this moment, the corpse emperor suddenly attacked. He arrived behind Xia Guangsha and said coldly, "Goodbye." Boom! He slapped Xia Guangsha's back with his palm. Xia Guangsha fell down like a kite with a broken string. He roared crazily. However, the combined attack of these people was too terrifying. He was sent into the lake. Gurgle! Gurgle! Many bubbles emerged from the lake. Xia Guangsha struggled, trying to escape. However, he was soon enveloped by a mysterious power. He felt that all the strength in his body was disappearing. Then he sank to the bottom of the lake and disappeared. In the end, those bubbles disappeared. Lin Xian and the others landed. Their scalps were numb. They had experienced Xia Guangsha's strength. They had so many people and used all their trump cards, but they only managed to injure him. They hadn't killed him yet. One could only imagine how terrifying the other party was. However, such a person couldn't escape after falling into the lake. Could it be that only Earth immortals could enter the lake? However, the corpse emperor said, "Let's leave here first. This lake is too strange." Moreover, the battle just now would probably alarm the torch dragon. Although he was pessimistic, he still had a part of his soul outside. "Let's go." Lin Xian waved his hand and took out the sky-swallowing jar. He covered all the people who were frozen and took them away. The next moment they rose into the air. Not long after he left, sure enough, a dragon head poked out from the ground. What's going on? Why do I feel that someone is fighting? Puzzled, he looked around him. Chapter 6048. Zhu Long was very confused. He did feel the aura of a battle. However, the person had disappeared. This was really strange. What were the people of the Xia family doing? After thinking for a while, he stopped paying attention. After all, the Xia family had Xia Guangsha, a great emperor who had cultivated 2 strands of immortal qi. It was impossible. What kind of situation would happen? Therefore, Zhu Long took a look around and left. He didn't know that Xia Guangsha, who he trusted, had been beaten into the lake by Lin Xian and the others and had completely sunk. As for the other people of the Xia family, they had also been suppressed and taken away by Lin Xian and the others. They came to another place. Lin Xian and the others released the people of the Xia family. These people were still frozen in the frost. Lin Xian and the others began to collect the souls. Soon, they furrowed their brows tightly. The Xia family was preparing to hold a party to recruit countless top families and sects around. They planned to share the matter of this mysterious lake. That's impossible. This is too strange. Xia Jiu frowned. When Xia Guangsha met us, he wanted to kill us to prevent the news from leaking out. But why? Why did he want to share it now? The corpse emperor also said that there must be a demon when things are abnormal. Lin Xian thought for a while and said it should be related to the array. I guess with the strength of the Xia family, they shouldn't be able to break this array. He wanted to gather the strength of other families and sects to break this array together. Everyone nodded. They felt that this idea was very reliable. Then what should they do next? Lin Xian smiled. Of course, they should go to the Xia family and participate in this party. This way, they could pay close attention to what the Xia family was doing. After making up their minds, they suppressed the people of the Xia family again. Then, they prepared to go to the party. At the same time, an angry roar came from the Xia family. Several young people were holding a soul pagoda. At this moment, the soul pagoda was already dim. This was the pagoda that contained the soul of the great emperor. This soul pagoda was shining, which meant that their great emperor was still alive. At this moment, one of the soul pagoda was extinguished. Furthermore, this was actually Xia Guangsha's soul pagoda. Did this mean that Xia Guangsha was dead? The Xia family could not accept it. Xia Guangsha was an expert with 2 strands of immortal energy. How could he possibly die so easily? No one would be able to kill him. The leader of the Xia family sat in the main hall. He looked down and said coldly, "Who can tell me?" What was going on? Where did Xia Guangsha go? His voice was incomparably cold, causing the surrounding people to tremble. The elders of the Xia family were frowning as well. To be honest, they weren't sure either. Among them, the great elder said, reporting to the clan leader, Xia Guangsha was following orders to go to the lake in the Bone Forest. Could it be that it was the torch dragon who did it? Damn it, that Zhulong was too arrogant. Did he really think that the Xia family would not dare to touch him? At this moment, the second elder walked out and said, "No, it shouldn't be. We have investigated, and the 19th elder's soul is still there. He was also one of the great emperors who went with Xia Guangsha. If it was the torch dragon who did it, they would have been wiped out. Why was it that only Xia Guangsha's soul was extinguished, while the other souls were still there? This meant that the others were still alive. Go, head to the Whitebone Forest, and investigate what's going on. Did the torch dragon do it, or did someone else do it secretly? Also, find out what happened to the lake. Report this information to me as soon as possible. Do you hear me?" He shouted angrily. The people of the Xia family quickly nodded and headed to the burial ground. The leader of the Xia family raised his head and looked at the great elder. He said in a deep voice, "Have you sent out the invitations?" 10 days later, "I want the gathering to be held as scheduled. These things can't delay the gathering. That's because this is our one and only chance." The great elder said, "Don't worry, clan leader. We have already informed those families and sections. Moreover, with the magic of the creation celestial pool, those families won't refuse." That's good. The creation celestial pool contains a mysterious power that can improve our strength. Maybe we can use it to awaken our ancestor. Speaking of this, they were all excited. Their ancestor was naturally an earth immortal. The great battle millions of years ago had injured their ancestor and made him sleep until now. However, they had to awaken their ancestor and use his power to sweep through the 9 serenities again. Next, they were looking forward to reopening the 9 serenities. They were going to go to the universe again and conquer the world. The news of the Xia family's banquet spread. All the major families and sects received the news. At the same time, they also learned about the creation celestial pool. What? There was a celestial pool that had the power to make a great emperor breakthrough. These top-notch clans all had emperor realm existences within them. They hadn't made a breakthrough for many years. At this moment, how could they not be excited when they heard the news? Therefore, they all went to the Xia family. Lin Xian and the others also went to the Xia family. Among them, the corpse emperor wore a loose black robe that hid his face. Xia Jiuyou and Xia Xingchen also hid their bloodlines. Lin Xian even used the heaven-devouring jar to form a black vortex armor that covered their bodies. After all, it would be troublesome if their bloodline resonated with the Xia family this time. Fortunately, the heaven-devouring jar was very mysterious. As long as Xia Jiuyou didn't take the initiative to attack, he shouldn't be able to discover it. Soon, they arrived at the Xia family's territory. The place where the Xia family was located was called Emperor Mountain. The name was very domineering. The place was filled with the aura of a great emperor. It was incomparably sacred. Countless people didn't dare to fly when they came here. Instead, they all landed at the foot of the mountain. They wanted to climb the mountain on foot. This was a respect to the Xia family. Who dared to fly here? That was to challenge the Xia family. They would be pierced by the Xia family's peerless experts with an arrow. The Xia family had an extreme weapon called the Eternal Night Bow. It was extremely terrifying and powerful. There was once an arrogant, great emperor who flew on Emperor Mountain and challenged the Xia family. In the end, he was pierced by the Xia family's Eternal Night Bow. The great emperor's blood stained the mountain. It was very tragic and shocked the entire 9 serenities. Since then, no one dared to come to Emperor Mountain and behave atrociously. There were many mountains and valleys around Emperor Mountain. There were many palaces and pavilions. These people temporarily stayed here, waiting for the Xia family's banquet to begin. Lin Xian and the others arrived and walked towards the valley ahead. There were many villas there. Lin Xian and the others decided to stay here first. Bu Tian and Xia Xingchen blinked and exclaimed, "It's so scary. There are so many experts here." "Grandpa, I can sense the information of the great emperors. They're not worth mentioning." Xia Jiao also said, "Don't release your bloodline aura. This is the Xia family's territory. We can't expose our identities now." Xia Xingchen nodded. Xia Jiao and the others were also shocked. Indeed, there were many great emperors who came this time. There were even great emperors who cultivated 2 strands of immortal qi. However, there were no earth immortals yet. After all, there were too few of them. These people wouldn't appear unless it was the most important moment. In the valley, there was a villa called the Second Villa. It was well decorated, and the environment was elegant. It was very suitable for living here. When Lin Xian and the others walked in, the little maid in the villa came to receive them. However, at this moment, a young man frowned and stared at Bu Tian. The next moment, he sneered, "Little thing, I finally found you." A chilling killing intent was released from his body, and it swept towards Bu Tian. Bu Tian was startled. "It's you." His expression changed. Chapter 6049. What's going on? Lin Xian asked. Bu Tian said, "He's the disciple of the sword martial emperor." The young man in front was called the Storm Sword Saint. His sword energy was terrifying. He looked at Bu Tian and said, "Kid, how dare you steal from my master? You must be tired of living. Hand over the sarcophagus, and I'll spare your life. Otherwise, you'll wish you were dead when my master comes." Bu Tian snorted, "That's not yours. I picked it up. You just want to take it. Little thing, I gave you face, but you don't want it, do you? Do I have to personally suppress you before you'll obediently tell me the truth?" The Storm Sword Saint sneered. He flicked his finger, and a sword energy flew out. However, Lin Xian waved his hand and shattered the sword energy. The next moment, he said lightly, "That sarcophagus is mine now. Come at me." "You?" The Storm Sword Saint stared at Lin Xian again. He sneered, "Kid, who are you? Don't you know that my master wants the sarcophagus? My master is the sword martial emperor. He's a master of swordsmanship and extremely powerful. He's famous among the great emperors. Do you dare to challenge him? Kneel down and hand over the sarcophagus. I'll spare your life." Is this guy crazy? Lin Xian and the others ignored him and walked into the villa. "Give us a secluded yard. Who dares?" The Storm Sword Saint snorted and said to the people of the Second Villa, "He's my master's enemy. My master is the sword martial emperor. Do you want to die? Do you dare to let them in?" Hearing this, the manager of the Second Villa walked out and said, "Sorry, please go to another villa." Lin Xian laughed when he heard that. The 9 Serenities soul also said, "Sword martial emperor, who do you think you are? How dare you be arrogant in front of me? Only your master didn't come. If he came, we could kill him with one slap." Now, he did have the arrogance to say these words. Lin Xian and the others were stronger than the sword martial emperor. Not to mention, the corpse emperor was here as well. A mere great emperor was nothing in their eyes. "You dare to challenge my master?" The Storm Sword Saint was furious. "Tell me, how do you want to die? Teach him a lesson." Lin Xian said with a frown. The 9 Serenities spirit rushed over and slapped the Sword Saint of Storm to the ground. He said coldly, "Trash like you dares to block our way?" The Storm Sword Saint's bones were all broken. He fell to the ground and roared, "You're dead. I'll call my master. I want him to destroy all of you." There were still some people in the villa who cried out in surprise when they saw this scene. Wasn't this the disciple of the sword martial monarch who dared to challenge the sword martial emperor, who was so reckless? He dared to hit the disciple of the great emperor. Another man walked out of the villa. This man's aura was terrifying. He had reached the boundary emperor realm. The sword energy on his body was even more terrifying than the 9 Serenity spirits. He thrust his sword at the 9 Serenity spirit. The 9 Serenity spirit retreated in fear. However, Xueqi made a move at this moment. She waved her hand, and frost filled the sky and froze the sword energy in an instant. Even the swordsman who attacked her was frozen. Everyone exclaimed, "What a terrifying aura! This woman is too powerful. She's so beautiful. Which family does she belong to?" Countless voices of discussion could be heard. Someone was terrified. "Why do I feel that this woman has the aura of a great emperor? Who dares to attack my husband? I'll kill him." Xueqi waved her hand and froze the swordsman who attacked her into an ice sculpture. He was dead. Countless people exclaimed. The sword saint of storm was also dumbfounded. "You actually killed my senior brother? You crazy woman! My master will definitely not let you off." The people around also exclaimed, "Who is that kid? Which family is he from? He married a great emperor. It's unbelievable." The shopkeeper of the second villa was also stunned. He couldn't afford to offend the sword martial emperor. However, he couldn't afford to offend the woman in front of him, either. Just as Zhang Xian was at a loss as to what to do, another massive being suddenly descended from the sky. This gigantic creature was a demonic beast with an extremely terrifying aura. It descended like a demon god. It said coldly, "Those who have nothing to do with this, get out of here. I've taken a liking to this villa." Its loud voice made everyone's scalp tingle. No one in the villa was so arrogant. They looked outside. In the next moment, they exclaimed, "The 9 Serenities beast. It's a great emperor, level 9 Serenities beast. This is an extremely terrifying being. We can't afford to offend it. Retreat." Countless people retreated in fear. Some of them even saluted. "Greetings, Lord 9 Serenities beast." The 9 Serenities beast was very satisfied with this scene. He raised his head and said, "Kneel to the side." The people on both sides made way for him. Seeing this scene, the Storm Sword Saint also exclaimed, "It's Lord 9 Serenities beast. Greetings, Lord 9 Serenities. I'm the disciple of the Sword Martial Emperor." The Sword Martial Emperor. "Oh, has that kid's swordsmanship improved recently?" The 9 Serenities beast said like an old man. Although he was young, his status was extraordinary. Even if he faced other great emperors, he would not spare them a glance. The Storm Sword Saint said, "Master swordsmanship has been improving. It's unfathomable. I can only look up to it. However, someone killed my senior brother. I'm sure my master will be angry." Oh, the 9 Serenities beast was surprised. Who dared to kill the sword martial emperor's disciple? It's her. It's this woman. They all deserve to die. The Storm Sword Saint pointed at Xueqi and the others and gritted his teeth. He really hoped that the 9 Serenities beast would attack them. "Let me see whose courting death has come to Emperor Mountain." The 9 Serenities beast lowered his head. When he saw Xueqi, he was stunned. When he saw Lin Xian, his expression changed. "It's you." Like a frightened cat, he jumped to his feet. "It's you." Lin Xian also smiled. This 9 Serenities beast wasn't someone else. It was the 9 Serenities beast that the old Heavenly Master had summoned in the 9th peak. They had fought before, but the Heavenly Master was no match for him. He had been beaten until he was scared. "It's Lin Gongzi. Long time no see. Greetings, young master." The 9 Serenities beast bowed respectfully to Lin Xian. The surrounding people were all stunned. The sword in the Storm Sword Saint's hand fell to the ground. He was so scared that his body trembled. How is this possible? The 9 Serenities beast didn't care about his master at all. Its strength was terrifying. Since when did it bow to anyone? But now, the 9 Serenities beast was bowing to a young man. And this young man was his enemy. What kind of person did he offend? The other people were also discussing, this young man is indeed extraordinary. How can he be an ordinary person if he can marry a great emperor? Look, even the 9 Serenities beast bowed to him. Who exactly is he? Is he a young master of the Xia family? No, the Xia family can't be here. Which family does he belong to? Countless guesses were heard. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.